Hey, Prime members, you can listen to Crime and Sports early and ad-free on Amazon Music. Download the app today.
In the depths of an Atlanta forest, a clash between activists and authorities ends in tragedy. I'm Matthew Scher, and on my new podcast, We Came to the Forest, we expose the hidden truths behind a shootout that left one activist dead and countless lives forever changed. Binge all episodes of We Came to the Forest ad-free on Wondery Plus.
Everybody, and welcome back to Crime and Sports.
Yay!
Oh, yay indeed, Jimmy. Yay indeed. My name is James Pietragallo. I'm here with my co-host.
I'm Jimmie Whisman.
Thank you, folks, so much for joining us today on another insane edition of Crime and Sports, as usual. We're going old-timey today, which is so much fun when we get into the old-timey stuff, because everything is funny. Everyone's name is funny. How everyone's described is funny. We will get to that, though. Before we do, just want to say, definitely want to head over to shutupandgivememurder.com. Check out everything there. First of all, live shows, September 8th, Atlanta, September 9th, Charlotte, Dallas, December 2nd. Pretty much everything else is sold out, so good luck on that. And then also you want to get in there for the virtual live show for Small Town Murder, Halloween week, October 26th, and it's available for a whole week after that. We cannot wait. Tickets for that go on sale September 1st. Shutupandgivememurder.com/virtual live for those. And Your Stupid Opinions is coming September the 18th. We cannot wait. Monday morning, it'll be a Monday morning podcast all the time there. September the 18th, Your Stupid Opinions. So you can, it's a pure comedy show. We're going to talk about people's idiotic reviews of everything on the internet, and it's everything, man. It's everything from
stupid things people post
from a Wendy's in Akron to a pube trimmer on Amazon. We'll talk about it all. It's all going to be on there, so check that out. Your Stupid Opinions, that's coming very soon. Also, Patreon you want. Patreon.com/crime and sports is where you get all the bonus materials, and $5 a month. It's a cup of coffee, or you get 200 bonus episodes to binge on, and new ones every other week, including this week, where we have, for Crime and Sports, we're going to talk about something very funny, celebrity boxing, which is, why did Screech fight Danny Bonaducci? We'll talk about it. There's a lot to talk about. Why would you want to embarrass yourself, washed-up sitcom star? Let's find out. And then for Small Town Murder, something very funny, Victorian household dangers. Now, late 1800s, everything was dangerous. Everything has strychnine in it, number one. Number two, bathrooms exploded like crazy. All over the place. Like, you were just as likely to explode in your bathroom as any other way of dying. So we'll talk about that. Why was shit so dangerous in your house back in the 1800s? All that and more. Patreon.com/crime and sports. And you'll get a shout out at the end of the show, of course. So Jimmy will mispronounce your name while he'd love to get it correct.
It's my dream.
That said, let's talk about someone who's been dead for almost 100 years.
All right.
Let's do it. Let's talk about our asshole of the week. He is a character, though, so that's the thing about the old-timey guys. Sometimes they're insane characters back then. You could get away with crazy shit back then.
Yeah, it didn't get... nothing was covered like it is now.
No, people would brush it under the rug, or it was considered like, oop, he's a real lout, that one, haha. Like it was kind of a joke. I don't know. Let's talk about Michael Joseph Donlin. Mike Donlin is what he goes by, otherwise known as Turkey Mike.
Turkey Mike.
Turkey Mike. He's known as Turkey Mike because he's got a strut to him. Everybody says he's got a real strut to the way he walks. So it's Turkey Mike, because I guess he walks like a turkey here.
No. All right.
He's born May 30th, 1878.
Yeah.
I think Ulysses Grant was president. I'm not even kidding. I'm pretty sure Ulysses Grant was president when he was born. That's so long ago. Abe Lincoln was alive 15 years earlier. Was president at that time. So think about that. He's born in Peoria, Illinois. And let's find out a little bit about him. He's played for a bunch of teams that weren't even called what they are called now, because he played for them back then. He's got parents. That's good. Someone begat him, I guess.
Sure.
John and Maggie are his parents. John and Maggie Donlin. They're from Ireland. his parents.
Oh,
He's very Irish. Or he's from Ireland. His mom's from Pennsylvania. Dad's from fucking Mars.
Fresh off the boat, though.
Yeah, Mars and Venus there.
Okay.
So
Got it.
they go all around. He's a railroad conductor, so they move all around the country a lot. Yeah, John is. So they move all around the country a lot. And in 1878, they were living at 818 South Adams Street here with their 5 children. That year is when Mike was born. So he's born in Peoria, and in 1878, he's the 6th child here.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wasn't that the address in Vanilla Ice's song? Beachfront Avenue, though?
818 South Adams Avenue, Peoria, Illinois.
Beachfront Avenue.
Possibly. I don't know many Vanilla Ice lyrics. Thankfully for me later on, I didn't like that shit. So it was like I didn't have much to be embarrassed about later, which is good. I'm happy.
Beachfront Avenue. I think I'm pretty sure. It's a fascinating song about a day that Vanilla Ice got shot. That didn't happen.
1882, they leave for their next relocation in Erie, Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
Grace.
Oh, terrific.
It's Grace because there's a major issue here.
Uh-oh.
Both his father and his mother were killed in a train accident when he was 7 years old.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, this is from the Darlington Democrat, July 9th, 1885. And
he wasn't much of a conductor, huh?
Apparently not. I don't know if he was riding on it or conducting it, but we'll find out. It's called Dashed to Death is the headline here. And the awful results of a collision. A frightful accident occurred on the Nickel Plate Railroad today, whereby 3 lives were lost. Mrs. John Donlin, with her babe and little boy and nurse girl, Sadie Mahoney, was riding in the caboose. The train stopped on a trestle over a ravine at Springfield where it was run into by another freight. It got T-boned, I guess.
Yeah.
Mrs. Donlin grabbed her babe and boy and ran out on the platform, followed by the nurse, when all were hurled into the abyss 100 feet in depth.
So they stopped on a bridge? Were they hit again?
I don't know. I guess so. They must have been because they were hurled after that.
Wow.
This is fucking nuts. I mean, it's a 130-year-old newspaper report, so it's hard to tell. But yeah, that's how they go. Mrs. Donlin and the nurse were mangled to death.
Jesus.
But the baby was caught in the boughs of a tree, and may possibly recover.
Rockabye Baby is real?
That shit is real. Caught in the bough of a fucking tree.
Unbelievable.
While her mother was flung to her death.
100 feet.
Was, quote, mangled to death. Cause of death, mangling. Mangled. Holy
the baby's
shit.
in a tree.
That is crazy. Mrs. Donlin held on to her child until it was torn from her grasp by the wires below. She was terribly mangled by the wires about the breast. Holy
my God.
shit. Brakeman Thomas Fahey was seriously injured in the collision. Her fall was broken 40 feet down by some telegraph wires, which cut into her flesh and stripped it from her ribs.
Jesus.
Just took her body apart.
It just opened her.
That is crazy. With her daughter clutched in her arms. Finally, the wires gave way and she fell to the bottom, a bloody pile. The child's dress was caught by overhanging branches, and the child was rescued with only a broken arm.
Wow.
Somehow, because she held on to her. Maggie Donlin died that night, and the 6 children were put into foster care.
Jesus.
Just
good
done. And then they said nobody really knows what happened to his siblings after that. Everybody kind of went their own separate ways. And he is forced. This is when 9-year-olds worked at the factory.
Yeah.
When you look at old pictures of like lunch break at the factory it's a group of 9-year-olds with sooty faces with their lunch boxes acting like they're 40-year-old men with 5 kids to support. It's fucking crazy.
Whole bunch of snack packs and juice boxes.
Yeah.
What happened to his dad though? His dad was on the train.
His dad was killed in a separate train accident, not this train
Good
accident.
Lord.
Back then trains were dangerous, and if your dad's on the train all the time, it happens.
Yeah.
So this is back in the day, though, when this is pre-child labor laws. Mm-hmm. You could work a child all day in a mine, and that was fine.
Yeah.
They're better for the mines because they're small. They can get into places. Yeah. It's nuts. So he works as a machinist while he's a child.
Right.
In his youth here. Was a sickly...
Machining
a machinist.
metal.
and then was sickly because of that, because he worked around chemicals and in bad working
Probably
conditions
lead.
as a child. He had tuberculosis as well.
Oh, my God.
Causing his chest to become concaved, it said. So later on, maybe that's why he walked like that. He was trying to stick his chest out. You know what I mean? Maybe that's why he's Turkey-ish. By one account, it says by 15, he had apparently relocated to Peoria again. So he gets a job hawking candy. He's selling candy on a train route between the Midwest and the West Coast.
Jesus.
He's on a train going back and forth in the car selling candy. That's what he does. One trip, he just stayed in California. He never didn't get back on the train. So why am I going to Peoria, Illinois?
Yeah,
like California in like 1900.
Oh,
it was wide
so much
open.
elbow room.
It was wide open. You could just do anything. It was amazing. They didn't even sell oranges yet there. They didn't even do that yet. Like, that's crazy. So he settled there when he's 15. Yeah. I guess he was. Somehow there was a resort town in Santa Cruz. And Santa Cruz was a resort town at the time, where they used to have foot races for money.
Really?
Which there wasn't a lot of sports back then. That's the thing.
Yeah,
and none on TV.
Was it like in the sand so that there was like a handicap at least?
I don't know. They're just running.
Maybe just on the street.
See how fast people are.
Who's faster.
So apparently he was really good at this and was beating everybody and making some. That's how he would make some money on the side. Would be these races for people. Yeah. So he started playing baseball. He's only 5'9", 170 pounds, which back then is a pretty decent sized guy. Yeah. He's left-handed. He's pretty powerfully built, and he just liked to hit. He didn't give a shit about fielding. Everybody said he was a shitty fielder, but he gets into the minor leagues in California. And he asked a San Francisco Examiner, the newspaper, one of their employees, to run a photograph of him in the paper. Run a picture of me in the paper, would you? It'd be good for me. He said, I know I'll get a break. I know I'm going to be great.
Okay.
So he apparently, that ended up being helping him a little bit here. He's also a good pitcher at the time as well. Mm-hmm. So he gets a job here with the Santa Cruz Sand Crabs baseball team.
Not a bad name.
Not bad at all. Late 1890s. Then he's purchased by the St. Louis Perfectos, who are the future St. Louis Cardinals.
Is that right?
That's a major league team at the time. They bought him for, as he put it, a little more than train fare.
What is that, $50?
Nothing. Yeah, they bought him for nothing, basically. Mm-hmm. He said he learned of the transaction while he was locked up in a Santa Cruz jail for public drunkenness, which, by the way, happened all the time.
In California, how drunk do you got to be to get noticed?
In 1900, in a resort town, there had to be people stumbling. This shit happened all the time. He's always getting jail for pump. Not like we have the records from then anyway, but if we did, it would just be like 100 times he's in jail for public drunkenness.
Is he ever sober?
So not by choice, really. Sometimes he kind of has to be, and he's not happy about it.
Sometimes you wake up that way.
And it's really annoying. You got to really, your head's pounding. You got to fix that. So the way they put it, he sobered up and got on a train. So that's what he did. Got on a train, made his debut in St. Louis on July 19th, 1899 as a relief pitcher here. So he arrived here, and what he did was he got into the park because there was no way of knowing who he was. So he pointed to the gatekeeper. He told the gatekeeper, here's a newspaper photograph of me. Look, I have it. He had pinned that article. He had it pinned to his lapel. And he was like, look, see, me, baseball player, says my name. That's me. There's my ID.
Here's my ID.
Yep. So he's known as Turkey for his strut and also because he had a red neck. His neck was red all the time. Okay. Because he's an Irish guy and they play all day games. So he's sunburnt to fuck. He's just sunburnt to fuck. That's all there is to it. He hated the nickname, by the way.
Really?
Hated it. Doesn't want to be called a turkey.
Earn it bowling. He's just got
damn it
turkey traits.
Fuck. So, but the kids, he got so popular, the kids used to walk like him on purpose. Like, look, I'm doing the Turkey Mike deal. Mm-hmm. So on the field, he's known as kind of a gregarious guy. He kind of dicks around, chats with fans in between innings, and fucks around. There was a little more clowning to the game back then.
Yeah.
The game was a little more clowny, and at the same time, it was perfectly normal for someone to spike you with sharpened spikes and open up a fucking gash on your leg, slide in a second. That was normal, too. It was a very weird game. Off the field, super big fucking partier, womanizer.
Yeah.
Loves to get into it, loves to nightlife.
Not married, though, huh?
No, not now. No.
Yeah.
Known as a real, like, sharp dresser. And he likes to go out on the town dressed up and get them ladies. That's it.
Okay.
So 1899, the Perfectos, by the way, are 84, 67, and 4. Those 4 games called by darkness.
Sure. Yeah.
Back then. There's a couple funny names on his team because these are old-timey guys. There's a guy named Cupid on the team. Cupid Childs is on the team. First name is Cupid. O.C. Schregenkost is one of the guy on the team. Like that's O.C. is O-S-S-E-E.
Oh.
That's an odd name. Ozzy, maybe? Ozzy. Two guys named Fritz. Cy Young is on his team, by the way. That's how old he is. Cy Young is on his fucking team. Who's going to win the Cy Young Award this year? I assume him, probably. Cy?
Maybe that guy.
And also a guy named Cowboy Jones is on his team.
First name.
By first name, Cowboy. So, that's how that goes. In his first game, he pitched in relief. Afterward, he heard the manager / first baseman at the time needed a shortstop. So he said, I can play shortstop. And in his first game, he did pretty well. He said, quote, I was swelled on myself at shortstop that first day.
Proud of himself?
I think that means he thought he did well.
I aroused myself?
He did great. His cock was rock hard.
Yeah.
Held in place only by his cup.
Okay.
He said the next day, though, there was a big crowd, and he mishandled every time the ball. He made error on every ball that came to him. Threw a bunch of throws into the fucking crowd. He got moved to first base after a couple innings. That's how bad. And then he couldn't do that either, so they had to take him out of the game.
Real limp on himself today.
They're real limp today. Not great. He does hit 323 that year, though, with 6 home runs and 27 RBI. And these are not like home runs like now. These are like inside the Parkers back then. These huge parks. Nobody really was hitting for power.
Barely over the fence.
But yeah, this was not, jack and shit. That was 6 is a lot of home runs.
Yeah.
Guys used to lead the league with 9 back then.
Is that right?
Absolutely, yeah. When Babe Ruth came in and hit 60, or when he hit like 50, whatever the fuck his first year of just full-time hitting, I think the next closest guy hit like fucking 12 or some shit. It was like ridiculous. When people compare, he's like Babe Ruth, you get, no. Don't do that. If he was like Babe Ruth, he'd hit 300 home runs next year, which he's not going to do, right? So, yeah, it's different. So, that year, though, that's what he does. He also pitches. He's 0-1 with a 7.63 ERA, which is not good. The Cardinals changed their name to the Cardinals the next year from the Perfectos, a wise choice. They suck, though. They're 65 and 75. Same kind of people on the team, nobody with any good names here. So I guess in 1900, he and a teammate, apparently, I don't know what they were doing. They got in an argument. They went into some bar, he and a teammate, and just started yelling at some guy with a long red beard. They didn't like him, and they got in a fight with him. So there's a big melee, a big bar fight, huge old-timey bar fight here. Yeah, you come here, you buddy pal. A knife he gets his throat cut twice in this fight. Donlin
a knife is produced by the bearded
guy? Somebody in the fight,
yeah.
And he gets his throat cut twice. Once from ear across his entire cheek, and he gets that scar forever, which is crazy. So it's fucking nuts. So twice in the throat, and then once up his cheek, he gets stabbed and slashed.
Wow.
So he's got scars forever after that. He looks
unreal.
Yeah. He said, quote, when a fella makes a fool of himself, the best thing he can do is to keep his mouth shut.
Good call.
That's what he said. In other words, he's saying he made a fool of himself. He's not going to talk about it.
I shouldn't have said anything.
Yeah, and then from the Los Angeles Times, June 25th, 1900, Mike's costly Josh, it says, in quotes, meaning his joke here. Yeah. It says, Donlin has face slashed. Wow, okay. Mike Donlin, the present center fielder of the St. Louis baseball team, had a badly cut face to show for some uncalled-for boisterousness on his part in joshing an elderly gentleman with whiskers, name unknown, and a cardinal-topped youth, also unknown. apparently redhead. Yeah. Donlin and pitcher Weighing were enjoying themselves in a saloon early this morning when the Californian began joshing the old man and the youth. Suddenly the latter, the kid, drew a knife and whipped it across Donlin's face. Donlin fell to the sidewalk and took the count before the pitcher could revive him. He was led to the city hospital where his face was dressed. Weighing, the pitcher, reported for duty today, but Donlin was reported confined to his boarding house. The cut will leave Mike scarred for life and probably keep him out of the game for the next few days.
Wow.
Not great. His teammate, O.C. Schreckengast, often fought with Donlin, telling him once, quote, "You're what I'd call a man with a $10,000 arm and a 10-cent head." That's hilarious because they're still 100 years later. They still use that.
Yeah.
Remember Bull Durham? He said he got $1 million arm and a 10-cent head. That's what he told fucking Tim Robbins. Literally. That's amazing. Back then it was just 10,000. That was $1 million. So
it was $1 million.
That's a $10,000 arm and a 10-cent head. That year he's at bat. What does he have here? 297 plate appearances. He hits 326.
Oh.
10 homers, 48 ribbies, 14 steals, 6 triples.
He's good.
Yeah, not bad. He's a good hitter, man. He really is. He ends up on the Orioles before the 1901 season, the Baltimore Orioles, who were 68 and 65 that year. Not that great here. Looking at there, they get John McGraw was on that team. Jesus Christ, he was the manager / third baseman. Yeah, it's exactly who it is. Tim McGraw's great grandpappy, John. Also, a guy named Chappie Snodgrass.
Oh,
Chappie Snodgrass is an outfielder with 10 at bats that year, and he hit 100. Chappie.
Unbelievable.
Tax Latimer, who was actually a guy I think we'll have an episode. I think he was a criminal, if I'm not mistaken.
CK or X?
CK.
Wow.
And a guy named Crazy Schmidt.
Hell yeah.
What did you have to do back then to be called Crazy Schmidt?
Yeah.
You had to be an insane person. That's awesome.
And Schmidt being so close to sounding like shit.
Crazy shit.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Now, John McGraw liked Donlin because Donlin was a nut. He liked him. Okay. One game, a teammate was ejected for arguing a call, so Donlin threw a ball and hit the umpire in the back.
Is that right?
To show his protest for throwing his friend out. You cocksucker. Bang. Right in the back. I think that's fucking hilarious. So that year, he hit a lot of at-bats that year. 539 plate appearances. He hit 340. 345 homers, 67 RBI, 13 doubles, 23 doubles, 13 triples. That's 33 steals. Jesus Christ. That's pretty good.
Not bad.
That's goddamn good. Made, and this is from the paper, made $2,500 for that season.
25. Wow.
That's what he made.
It's got to be big money today, right?
That's decent money today. Yeah, not like millions, but it's probably $100,000 a year or something like that.
$100,000.
So March 1902, he goes out in Baltimore and just goes on basically a 1902 version of a pub crawl, which would just be going from place to place and getting so drunk you can't walk.
All right.
Blinded drunk. So
in Baltimore,
he gets so shit-faced that he gets caught urinating in public, accosting two chorus girls, getting in a fight with a guy for talking to his girlfriend, for him talking to a guy's girlfriend. Then he punched the guy when the guy got mad that he talked to his girlfriend. Then he roughed up the girlfriend too, on top of it. He had quite the night here. Let's find out.
How dare you not tell me you had a boyfriend?
You son of a bitch. Pat backhanded her. The Pittsburgh Press, March 19th, 1902 here. God, this is great. Donlin, the professional baseball performer, they call him. Performer, whose entrance in the big league when it was the big league, wow, taking a shot at something, was made via St. Louis, is due to be drummed out of the business for attacking a young woman in Baltimore last week. He's not drummed out of shit. The hair was silver even back then. This is not a new phenomenon. You know what I mean? This whole deal.
I've been doing that a while.
Let's see. Injuring her and her husband. Donlin came here from California, and there's no end to the stories of his escapades. Frank DeHaas Robinson vouches for one, which indicates that Mike never learned the meaning of the word gratitude. Donlin failed to make good here as a pitcher, but managed to do fairly well in the outfield. His hard hitting and fast work on the bases make him a desirable man to be in the game regularly. Jesus Christ, that's wordy. He was signed at an increased salary in 1900. Shortly after the race that year had been started, Donlin went to Frank Robeson and told him that his brother had gotten into serious trouble in Chicago and that he'd been tried and found guilty, but that he knew he was innocent. The youth had been sentenced to prison, and Mike declared that his innocence could be proven if a little time could be had. Mr. Robeson, who had always been the best friend of the ball players ever had, and who now has a wrecked ball club, took the case in his own hands. He employed his own lawyer to have the case reopened and have Mike's brother saved from wearing the stripes. It was a long fight, but Mr. Robeson, being well acquainted with the late John R. Tarner, then governor of Illinois, succeeded in getting the pardon. He got the owner of the ball club that knows the governor to give his brother a pardon.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Wow.
All the many trips to Chicago and Springfield and the attorney's fees were paid by Mr. Robeson. He didn't charge Donlin a single penny for the great expense he had incurred in fighting for his brother's freedom. Mike cried, thanking Mr. Robeson for his friendly turn. He then said as long as Mr. Robeson remained in baseball, he would never think of doing business with any other magnate, no matter how much more money he might be able to secure elsewhere, and that he was the St. Louis club's property just as long as Mr. Robeson wanted him. But the following spring, after borrowing $100 and accepting railway transportation from San Francisco to Hot Springs, where he said he wanted to go for a boiling out, quote unquote,
From San Francisco to fucking Arkansas?
To just sit in some water.
Wow.
Donlin did business with John McGraw at the same time with the Baltimorean grabbed Jimmie Williams and passed up the Mound City for Oysterville. Jesus. He didn't write Mr. Robeson of his desertion, and the magnate refused to believe the press dispatches concerning his desertion. It's all a mistake, he said at the time. I know Mike, and I know he'll be reporting here today. But he wasn't, and the resident fans know he never returned. Mr. Robeson had borrowed money for the price of a ticket. Never returned Mr. Robeson the borrowed money, so he never even paid him back for the ticket. By the way, they still put fans in quotes because that's a new term. Fan is like call them, quote, fans. That's a new thing. The American League stood for Donlin for a whole year, and its press agents shut their eyes to the violations of the policy in which they claimed the Johnson organization. McGraw was the man who signed Donlin. He was fined $250 for this escapade this night of punching people and slapping women and accosting showgirls. And you, sir, may fuck off 6 months in prison.
Oh, wow.
But he's released a month early for good behavior. He assaulted 4 people in one night.
The man did 5 months for that?
5 months for that, yep.
Wow.
And so McGraw, the manager, was forced to release him, and that's how that went here. I guess on August 2nd, there was a story in the paper that the St. Louis Browns contributed $250 to support his sister and mother while he was in jail.
$50?
Because they'd like to sign him. Yeah, but then again, he's released, and then he's signed by the Cincinnati Reds.
Oh, so they didn't get him anyway.
They didn't get him anyway. They're 70-70 that year. The Reds are. Anybody funny on there? George Magoon is a funny name for some reason. That's a pretty funny name.
Yeah.
What else we got? Rube Vickers. That's not that great.
Gross.
Crease Heineman. That sounds
what?
Sounds like a gynecological procedure. I'm getting a crease Heineman today. Don't come near me. There it is.
You call it a crease, right?
I found the two. Noodles Hahn is one guy. Noodles Hahn.
Noodles.
H-A-H-N. And then Buck Hooker. That's the guy. The Adventures of Buck Hooker. That sounds like a porn series from the 80s. The Adventures of Buck Hooker. And he just fucking plows his way through the Midwest.
In the 1980s, a rosé swept the country.
Hey, Mike, I really like this White Zinfandel.
Well, good. Now put it down. I'm going to try another one.
White Zin became America's top-selling wine. But most don't know that this sweet drink has a sour history. What began in 1986 with counterfeit bottles.
A big fraud, a multi-million-dollar fraud.
Sent investigators chasing one of the most powerful families in the business, the Licciardis. But the closer the feds got to them, the more dangerous things became. It's a story of deceit.
At the time, I was paranoid.
Threats.
You touch my kids, I will kill you.
And murder.
With a .22 caliber bullet to the head.
What started with a scheme to mislabel wine spilled into a blood-soaked battle for succession. Welcome to Bloodvines. You can binge listen to Bloodvines exclusively and ad-free on Wondery Plus. Join Wondery Plus in the Wondery app, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify.
Have you ever gotten a message out of the blue? Maybe you ignore them. Or maybe you end up in conversation. Maybe they tell you about an amazing offer. I can really show you how to make some money. And maybe that gets you into a lot of trouble. But this isn't a story about people like you, the people receiving these messages. This is a story about the people behind the messages, on the other end of the line. Thousands of them, working in a microcity built for scammers. From Wondery, the makers of Dr. Death and Kill List, comes Scam Factory, a new series about survival at the expense of others. Follow Scam Factory on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts. You can listen to Scam Factory early and ad-free right now by joining Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts.
Delivering pizza and fucking housewives.
Isn't buck? Isn't that like a description of naked? Oh,
Yeah.
that's the buff. Wait, buck.
Buck
yeah,
too.
naked.
Buck naked. Yeah. But I don't know. Buck naked.
naked
there.
hooker.
Naked hooker. This year, he only has 154 plate appearances. He only played 34 games. Hits 287.
Okay.
Only pitches an inning, so that doesn't matter. 1903, he's with the Reds still. They're 74 and 65 that year. Look at them. Heine Peets is their new catcher. Heine Peets. Jesus, everybody's names. Cozy Donlin played the outfield.
I want to go. I want to go back to these times. I'm
This is
tired.
hilarious.
Tired of seeing Paisleys and Aidens and
Backup catcher Pat Diesel.
hell yeah.
His name's Pat Diesel. That's a hilarious name. Pat Diesel. Buck Hooker still on the team. That's good. Got to have Noodles Hahn around.
Yeah.
Excellent. 1904. What does he do this year? He hit 351 this year. Jesus Christ. 351, 7 homers, 67 ribbies. He 351 is tearing it up, ripping the cover off the ball. 1904. The Reds are good. 88 and 65. Third in the National League, though, so no World Series for you there.
That's a heartbreaker.
Yeah, it's only they play the whole season. Top two teams, World Series.
And we're third.
In Georgia that year, they're in spring training, and he and his teammates were obviously hitting the bars every single night because they're crazy, getting shithoused. Apparently, he was singing, and that pissed off a customer who pulled a gun on him and threatened to shoot him.
Can't blame him.
Yeah, the manager of the team jumped in here. Joe Kelly jumped in and fucking snuck Donlin off to a spot where no one would murder him.
That's exactly the response that we should all have to karaoke night.
That's what I'm saying. Or if someone whips out a guitar unprompted.
Yep.
That should be the get out, gun on them.
Or there were gunplay.
That's it. Everyone should have, this is my karaoke gun. I just keep it around. No other purpose. It's just for in case of karaoke, break glass.
Yeah.
And you break it and take it out.
If you were a good singer, you'd be working for it. Get the fuck out.
Get out of here. I don't want to hear that you're okay for a singer of karaoke. Some people love karaoke. They love it.
Oh, my dad's one of them, and I fucking want him to stop it so bad.
They love doing it. They love watching it. The next year, they have a catcher named Admiral Schlee.
Admiral Schlee.
Admiral is his first name, Schlee. Peaches O'Neill is on the team as well.
Yeah.
Peaches O'Neill? Peaches O'Neill. Peaches O'Neill is a man, an Irish man with the first name of a young black girl. Peaches O'Neill. Heine Pites is still on the team here. I don't see Buck Hooker anymore, though. I think he's gone. That's a damn shame when you can't have Buck Hooker on your team. Noodles Hahn is still there, though. He's there. 1904, July 6th. This is known as the St. Louis incident here.
Oh.
As you might imagine here. This is from the Cincinnati Post from 1904, July 6, 1904. The conduct of Mike Donlin following his suspension for an indefinite period for drunkenness Tuesday is believed by those who saw and heard him to be sufficient cause for his release. In the rooms of other players after he had been ordered home, Donlin poured out a volley of profanity and cursed manager Kelly repeatedly. Kelly overheard some of this abuse, but restrained himself from resenting it with an effort. So he didn't go say anything. Yeah. Donlin finally declared that he would work on the streets rather than play ball again under Kelly. Okay. I'll suck dick in front of this fucking hotel. I'll suck dick on the sidewalk before I fucking play ball.
That's what he said, right? He didn't say I'll shine shoes. He said
I'll suck dick.
I'd rather blow every dude on the sidewalk than play for you.
Blow every sailor at the fucking port before I play for you.
I'll sell my butthole one.
I don't care.
Rather than listen to a word you say.
You know something you can sell more than once? Your butthole. That's right. You can sell as many times as you want. You can sell it and then it's yours again. So
that's called that's genius marketing.
Business smarts. Mm-hmm. So the suspension is not
free selling.
The suspension is not a surprise to the left fielder's club mates. Such a fate has been predicted for him more than once. Since the opening of the season, manager Kelly has suffered criticism at the hands of some of who have considered him rather lax. The action against Donlin is the line of threatened discipline taken by the Reed earlier this year, and it has been charged that he was not going to carry out his determination expressed in the spring. Jesus. But Kelly comes down flat against violations of simple rules that players are asked to observe. No further disobedience will be tolerated, said Kelly Wednesday, and I know President Herman and Cincinnati fans will back me up if I punish the offenders. Donlin remained at the St. James Hotel where the team is stopping, refusing to go home Tuesday night, though a ticket had been furnished him. Manager Kelly learned that Donlin wrote a telegram to a Montana manager offering to jump from the Cincinnati club. They don't have a major league team, Montana. It's just some other team. I'll play for you. Wow. President Gary Herman of the Cincinnati club Wednesday morning received manager Kelly's letter from St. Louis explaining in full the action of suspending Mike Donlin, the Reds' hard-hitting left fielder, who, because of his extended celebration of the 4th of July by the wet goods route.
The what?
But they described 3 days of drunkenness as a, quote, extended celebration of the 4th of July by the wet goods route. Okay. He drank his way across 3 days is what they just said.
Amazing.
That is one way of putting it. Suspended by Kelly indefinitely. Fred Odwell, the Red Sox crack utility outfielder, is on a lot of crack, everybody. Even back then it was a problem. Will play one of the outer gardens in Donlin's place, meaning he's going to take his place in the outfield.
Sure.
The Reds will lose little by the change, as Odwell has shown he's a jewel in the rough and will soon blossom into a star. All right, then. Okay. Right after that, an article in the paper, big headline, Dick is involved.
Oh, yeah. Is it?
Dick is involved. Charges made against Senator and fellow directors in the defunct Akron Savings Bank. It's just a headline from the paper, but Dick is involved is right under that. So you never know. So rejoining from suspension here. This is from the Rushville Republican, July 25th, 1904. Yeah. Mike Donlin, the suspended first baseman and outfielder of the Cincinnati Reds, was expected to join the local team today. Actually, it says local team. There's an R in team. Fuck it, typo. Arrangements were made for Donlin to play 3 games with Rushville this week, and manager Garrity wired him a ticket to the city this morning, intending to have him come to the city at 10:46. That's exact. And drive through to Greensburg. Donlin was then at the Stag Hotel in Cincinnati. He did not receive his ticket, however, in time to catch the train, and he wired manager Garrity that he would come via Big Four and would arrive at 2:10 p.m. Okay. The manager has been after Donlin for some time and finally succeeded in getting him here for a short time. He's one of the hardest hitters and best ball players in the National League, and only yesterday, while playing with Middletown, got 2 home runs, 2 3-base hits, and 1 2-base hit out of 5 times at bat. Jesus, that's pretty amazing. So, there's an article under that I think everyone needs to know about, everybody. The sales, we'll just say, because if you happen to be in Pittsburgh on August 3rd, 1904, you need to understand how that this guy here, Dr. Kohler at 638 Penn Avenue, can cure all sexual diseases.
All of them?
Yes. Avoid dangerous or uncertain treatments. I make no misleading statements or deceptive propositions to the afflicted. Neither do I promise to cure them in a few days in order to secure their patronage, but I guarantee a complete, safe, and lasting cure in the quickest possible time without leaving injurious after effects in the system at the lowest possible cost. For honest, skillful treatment, I positively cure blood poison, stricture, gonorrhea, gleat, drains, night losses. Night losses?
Gleat?
Gleat, I think that is stones.
Drains?
I don't know what that is.
That's gross.
Hydrocoly, or swelling of the parts. What parts? What parts are swollen? Oh, my God. I am terrified. Varicose, ulcers, lost manhood.
Ulcers? That's called herpes, man.
Oh, man. Rheumatism. I think he means stomach ulcers. Like ulcers.
Yeah, because he's getting rheumatism. That's in the hands.
Lost manhood, which I don't know if you're just sad about times past or your dick don't work.
Or it's just not there.
Rheumatism. You lost it. I don't know where I put it. Rheumatism, diabetes, bladder and kidney troubles, prostate disease, tapeworm. Wow. What? Eczema, pimples, ringworm, itch, and all sexual diseases of men. I have the most perfect system of home treatment known to medical science.
Is he saying he has one thing that cures all of that?
He cures it all. That's what I mean. It's probably some horse shit bomb that's literally half strychnine and half cocaine. That's probably what it is. That's
Seems
what
like
everything
a fun
was
day,
back
though.
then. Yeah.
Fun afternoon when you take that.
Speaking of a fun afternoon, if you want to, after all that, you need to have a drink to calm yourself down. It says, speaking of quality, open a bottle of Blatz Wiener beer.
Gross.
Blatz Wiener. There's where the quality argument comes in. It's every bottle or keg that bears the Wiener label. Order Wiener for the sake of your health. Order Wiener for the sake of your health, Jimmy.
Talking to you, gals.
That's right, and the health of your health of your family. It's beer. Wow.
Have some dick for the sake of your family.
It's tonic. It says beer, but then it says it's tonic. Blatz Malt Vivine non-intoxicating tonic. Yeah, it's like non-alcoholic beer.
Malt tonic?
I don't know what the fuck that is.
Oh, boy.
So, anyway, he ends up getting dumped again after the St. Louis incident here. He's shipped to the New York Giants, where John McGraw is the manager there, and that's where he becomes famous as the manager of the Giants for years and years. Yep, he was hitting .356 when they shit-canned him, by the way.
My God. You got to be a real piece of shit to get thrown out like that, right?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. His deal was closed here yesterday under suspension for drunkenness, becomes a member of the New York team. Well, it's a trade. It's like a 3-team trade, actually. That's interesting.
Blockbuster.
3 teams from the Reds to the Giants. The Giants sent Harry McCormick to the Pirates. The Pirates sent Jimmy Sebring to the Reds. There you go. Okay. 1904, the Giants are 106-47-5 for first in the National League. Look at them here. So this is pre-World Series, I think. This is right when they were starting doing this. So they said that they liked him. McGraw again liked him. This is the dead ball era, so they like it when you dive and spike people and play hard and steal bases, and he's got balls and speed, so that's what they want there. Like Ty Cobb, we talked about him.
He's drunk.
McGraw was also glad to have him around. He said, quote, he was a notorious, this is a baseball historian, he was a notorious drunk and a carouser. He had a scar running from his left cheek down to his jaw from a knifing, but Donlin sure knew how to hit the ball.
Yeah.
He said to the sports writers, quote, give me an even break. If you treat me right, I'll be on the up and up. That's what he told the press when he got there. Yeah. I'll be on the up and up. This is the Society for the American Baseball Research, SABR. This is how they describe him. Quote, slashing pitches into gaps, running the bases with reckless abandon, and arguing incessantly with umpires. Donlin became the baseball idol of Manhattan. Because of his strutting walk and red neck, he was dubbed Turkey, a nickname he hated, but had such a following that kids imitated his strut. With his cap at a belligerent angle over one ear, belligerent, he wore his cap tilted.
Sloppy.
Slim with the tilted brim is what he said. What's my motherfucking name?
What's your name, Rooster? Was
Turkey,
it
my and he said, gobble, gobble. Turkey, my. Yes, a scar running down his left cheek from the knifing and an ever-present plug of tobacco in his jaw. He looked the part of a rough, tough dead baller.
No
That's
kidding.
what he was, yeah. So on this team, let's see, anybody funny names on this team? There's a Doc. That's good. Doc Marshall.
Not bad, yeah.
Not bad, but not. Oh, Red. There's a Doc and a Red. Oh, and a Hooks. Hooks Wiltsey. There's always a Doc and a Red back then.
Yeah.
A Doc, a Red, and a Hooks, apparently. And a Claude. There's also a Claude. Oh, and there's another Red. There's 2 guys named Red on this team.
How do you do that?
That's fucking awesome. 2 Reds. So this year he hits 280 for the Giants.
Mm-hmm.
So not spectacular, but decent. Oh no, wait, that's with the Giants. With the Reds combined, he hits 329, second to Honus Wagner for the batting title. Yep, helped the Giants win the National League pennant. However, the manager McGraw refused to participate in the World Series, which this would only be the second World Series. It had only been played once before because a business and personal feud between the American League champion, the Boston Red Sox, Boston Americans at the time, and him. He didn't like the fucking owners of them. He said, I'm not playing them. Fuck them.
How about that?
That's pretty awesome. He made $3,300 this year, Turkey Mike. So 1905, 105, 48, and 2 the Giants are, finishing first in the National League. Not too fucking shabby again here. This year, and again, nobody to Hooks again. Hooks is there, but other than that, Christy Mathewson's on the team now. He's a 24-year-old Christy Mathewson, who is a future Hall of Famer, incredible pitcher who then went to World War I and got mustard gas in his lungs and died when he was like 34 or some shit. Yeah, a terribly tragic story, but great pitcher.
Did they play the World Series this year? And the series was a series, right? It wasn't just one game?
No, they used to do 9. It was best of 9 back then.
Oh, Jesus, that's exhausting.
Yeah. So we'll talk about the series in a second here. He ends up leading the league in runs scored this year with 124. He hits 356. Wow. Fuck, man, that's amazing. With 7 homers, 80 RBI, 33 steals, 31 doubles, 16 triples. Killing it. That year, he has his best season, and he doesn't get suspended at any time during it, which is great. He led third in the National League in average, led the league in runs scored, and finished in the top 5 and a bunch of other shit, too. And the Giants won the World Series.
How about that?
The Philadelphia Athletics. So they win. Not bad.
The Eagles later.
Now they became the Eagles, as we all know. That's actually the current Oakland / wherever the fuck they're going to go A's.
Really?
Yeah, they started
there. Are they moving?
They went to Kansas. They 1 minute it's okay, and then Vegas says no, and they're trying to figure out how to move them. It's so stupid.
That's too bad.
That's fucking awful. It really is.
That's a great place for them to be, is fucking Oakland. They shouldn't.
It is. Otherwise, they're going to change those goofy uniforms. Yep. They're going to change it all. They're going to make it cool and sleek, and it's like that's
it'll be
not
all
what
over.
They are. Yeah.
It's not the Bash Brothers. It's not any of that shit anymore. It's stupid.
If you're good, no one will care where you play or how old or how shitty your uniforms look. They'll pack the fucking joint. So
get an Eckersley and fucking keep going.
Let's do this. 1906 in February, Donlin is arrested after punching a train conductor.
Oh?
The train conductor came up to bother Donlin, quote unquote, because Donlin was brandishing a gun.
Oh.
So the train conductor said, hey, you can't have your gun out on the train, so Donlin punched him.
At least he didn't shoot him.
Now, some accounts said that he was, quote, set up by a jewelry salesman named Diamond Dick, which is, I'm a little upset about that because that's my nickname that I use around the house is Diamond Dick, obviously. It's,
Yeah.
That's
the male version of vajazzling.
Yes, my Diamond Dick. So Donlin is charged with assault here.
Yeah.
February 9th, 1906, from the News Journal. Donlin and several companions arrested in Albany. Michael J. Donlin, center fielder for the New York League Baseball Club, Walter Bennett, a Southern League pitcher, and John McGrath, another professional baseball player, all members of an indoor baseball team en route to begin a series at Troy. What the fuck?
Say again?
Some indoor baseball team. They would do barnstorming in the offseason to make money back then because they didn't make a ton of money. Were arrested here on the arrival of their train this afternoon. They're charged with disorderly conduct on the train. Donlin's also charged with drawing a loaded revolver on a porter.
You can't do that.
Can't do that. According to the story of the porter, the party began drinking soon after the train left Grand Central Station. That sounds correct.
I believe that.
I believe that. So far, I'm on board. Yeah. Their conduct became, quote, annoying to the other passengers.
And they were believe that.
I bet he was singing annoyingly. And they were repeatedly cautioned by the conductor and the train crew. The warnings proved ineffectual, and finally, the porter alleges, Donlin drew a revolver and pointed it at him, throwing other passengers in the car into a panic. Some of the more prudent members of the party took the weapon from Donlin there. At Poughkeepsie, hey, we know that. Oh, hey. At Poughkeepsie, the conductor telegraphed to Albany, where the train reached. When the train reached here, Donlin, Bennett, McGrath were all pointed out as the chief offenders. A sensation followed the discovery of the identity of the prisoners, and a crowd followed them to the police station. The other members of the party at once began earnest efforts to secure their release. Members of the legislature from New York City used their influence in the aid of this endeavor. Other members of the New York Baseball Club on the train were second baseman William Gilbert and a couple other guys. Only 3 were arrested, so there you go. Okay, so there's that. You got to have that. Mabel Height here. Okay, that's right. Okay. That rumor, or that spring, there's rumors circulating that Donlin is about to marry an actress named Mabel Height, Hite.
Yeah.
Okay, this is a big deal. He's a famous ball player. She's a famous silent movie actress. Big deal. She's in Broadway at this time. This is kind of really movies out. Yeah, she's on Broadway. She said she got interested in baseball after reading a reporter's account of how Donlin was caught stealing home. He said, quote, Donlin got tired of life and suicided at the plate, which is pretty funny.
That's a good way of writing it.
That's fun. Donlin arrived at the spring training this year by himself and told teammates, neither now nor at any time have I any intention of making a double steal up to the altar. He said, what is matrimony? A fumble, an error. So he said he's not getting married, though.
Okay.
In spring training, he's not getting married. A few weeks later, they get married on April 11th, 1906. He double stole. Yeah, it's a double steal. It's big in the paper. Mabel Height wedded. Second jump of the actress into matrimony. Second husband here. Mm-hmm. Mabel Height, the Kansas City girl who has won laurels on the stage, is now Mrs. Mabel Height Donlin, having been married to Mike Donlin, outfielder for the Giants. Mrs. Donlin's first matrimonial venture, which occurred March 2nd, 1901, was the whirlwind kind. It was 3 days of wooing, 3 weeks of honeymoon, then a separation, and 4 years later, a divorce. That's her first marriage, not this one. The man was Ellis E. Hamlin, son of European buyer for Marshall Field & Co. of Chicago, who first met her in Denver, where she was playing Estelle in The Telephone Girl. Mabel Height's remembered here as the prima donna of The Chaperones, which was here 2.5 years ago. Oh, okay. Very nice. So, okay. 1906 Giants, 96, 56, and 1. Finished second, so no World Series there for them.
Damn it.
So, not bad. Here we go. June 9th, 1907, the Tacoma Daily Ledger paid high price for being funny. Mike Donlin once had to put up $2 per ball for intentional fungo hitting. Okay? In spring practice of 1906, of the New Yorks, they call them, never very fond of conditioning practice, tried one stunt to escape practice for which he will probably never repeat. The Giants had been out for an hour or so, engaged in the strenuous practice under the eye of McGraw, and Mike, along with some of the others, was getting tired. They wanted to return to the hotel, but McGraw had a contrary spell and kept them at work. Donlin was at the bat and Bowman was catching. There was a short right field at Memphis where the team was training, and Bowerman had an inspiration. Knock all the balls over that fence, Mike, and break up the game. Hit all the balls out of here so we can't play anymore.
Make him go chase them.
The pitcher was just lobbing them over, and it was a picnic for Mike to foul the 3 balls over the fence in rapid succession. The conspirators were chuckling at their success. When McGraw happened to glance their way, he is not noted for his angelic temper, and he fairly boiled over at the attempt to get the best of his orders. Those balls you put over the fence will cost you $2 apiece, and everyone you knock out of the lot now will cost you $5.
Okay, so we got 6 out, and now from now on it's $5 a ball?
That little stunt cost them $6 between the two of them. High price, as the paper put it. So in 1906, he broke his ankle sliding into second base and missed the rest of the season and kind of fucked up his. So that was the end of his fast. He wasn't fast anymore after that. I don't think they had the same way of setting things. And
1900 surgeries.
Yeah, it's not great. Let's see. Oh, here we have Spike Shannon's on the team that year. Spike and Hooks are both on the team. Spike, Hooks, and Red are all there. And Doc. Spike, Hooks, Red, and Doc. That's awesome. That sounds like an Old West gunslinger crew, doesn't it? It's fucking awesome. So that year, he only played in 37 games at .314. 1907, he demanded the same salary as well as a $600 bonus. Why did he want a bonus? As incentive to stay sober, he said.
Oh, I'll stay sober for $600.
Yep, pay me not to get shit-faced.
All right.
The owner refused, and he sat out the whole season.
Drunk.
Shit-faced, because they didn't give him that. He spent the time traveling around with his wife, doing shows, got into the theater, and into the high society lifestyle that came with theater. He's like, this isn't so bad.
There's a lot of booze in here.
No shit. And he got into acting as well.
Is that right?
Yep. One critic said, quote, at first they laughed at him, but Turkey Mike stuck with it and fought as hard as he did in baseball. Another said Donlin, quote, never was the actor he thought he was or wanted to be. It wasn't for lack of confidence. He said, quote, I can act. I'll break the hearts of all the gals in the country. And if their hearts aren't broken, I'll beat the shit out of them and their boyfriends too. Wow.
That's what he said. I'll break the hearts of every woman in the country. I'll pretend to be into them. Is that what he's saying? I don't know what he's saying.
No, we'll get them to. I'll be a movie star. They'll all want to fuck me.
I'll be so fucking hot. I won't bang any of them.
I'll bang them all. Noted here's from 1907, February 20th. Noted ball player touched for diamond and cash in Chicago. That sounds like a voluntary transaction. Yeah. Mike Donlin of the Giants will really want more money now. He was robbed of $500 and a diamond stud last night after playing the Good Samaritan. Wow. He encountered a man from New York with a hard luck story. You must be Mike Donlin, the great outfielder, the stranger said to Donlin. I recognized you in a minute, although I was never introduced to you. Mr. Donlin coyly admitted his baseball greatness as well as his identity, and the stranger then unburdened himself of further, I can't read because the paper's fucked up, which sounded sweet to Michael's ear, for he has not heard the applause of the bleachers since way last summer. Come with me, he said, with a 3-base hit smile. A man who knows a good baseball player need never go hungry while Mike Donlin lives. So he invited this guy to dinner with him, this fan. While he drags the admiring quote-unquote fan within the door of the Union restaurant and ordered a turkey dinner for two. During the repast, more fragrant verbal bouquets were tossed recklessly at Mike by his guest, and when the man had eaten till he could eat no more, the hospitable Michael spoke as follows. Old fellow, if you haven't a place to sleep, come up to my room and sleep with me. There's plenty of room, and I don't want to see a man walking the streets. Wow, the stranger protested. It would be an intrusion, and he's not entitled to such hospitality, etc. But Donlin insisted. The fan went to bed, and Donlin also retired. The stranger woke up first, for when Donlin rubbed his eyes and sat up in the bed, he found his bedfellow was gone. In a few moments, he found that his diamond stud, valued at $500, and $500 in cash were also absent without leave. When he discovered his loss, Donlin hastened out of the city hall and informed Lieutenant Andy Rohan of the circumstances. The robber was arrested. He gave the name of F.S. Smith. He had already spent the $500. Oh, he had already sold the $500 stud for $100. He hawked it already.
He let a stranger sleep in his bed. Literally in the bed.
Come on up, eat with me, sleep in my bed. That's normal.
Weird. Yeah.
August 31st, 1907, Nevada State Journal, little actress's husband drunk.
Oh?
Mike Donlin, baseball star, tried to beat dainty Mabel Height, his pretty wife. I'm married now, Drew Tier, but she is devoted. If he'll sign with Giants for 6 months, she'll forgive. What the fuck?
What's happening?
When Mabel Height, the dainty little comedienne, stepped on the boards of the Novelty Theater last night and danced across the stage to the rollicking tune of For I Am Married Now in the comic opera A Night for a Day, some of the regular patrons wondered why she left out one particular verse of the song. The verse was one which invariably drew a burst of laughter, but though she was called back again and again. She refused to sing it. The verse runs. Let's find it. Maybe it's filthy.
Yeah.
Let's find out. Maybe it's like, my pussy's itching. I can't be bitching. Like, it could be filthy. We don't know. Quote, I'd like to go a lunchin', but I've got a hunchin' that I'd get a punchin', and I hate to wear a veil, for I am married now. Oh, because her husband did beat her up, so she didn't want to sing the verse about getting beat up by her husband. That makes sense.
Wow.
Wow. I'd like to go out, but my husband will beat the shit out of me if I go out to lunch, is what that song says.
I'll need to wear a veil everywhere I go.
And that's funny. That's a comedy.
Yeah. Funny.
That's a comedy. They said that gets big laughs, they said.
Behind the closed doors of government offices and military compounds, there are hidden stories and buried secrets from the darkest corners of history. From covert experiments pushing the boundaries of science to operations so secretive they were barely whispered about. Each week, on Redacted, Declassified Mysteries, we pull back the curtain on these hidden histories. 100% true and verifiable stories that expose the shadowy underbelly of power. Consider Operation Paperclip, where former Nazi scientists were brought to America after World War II, not as prisoners, but as assets to advance U.S. intelligence during the Cold War. These aren't just old conspiracy theories. They're thoroughly investigated accounts that reveal the uncomfortable truths still shaping our world today. The stories are real. The secrets are shocking. Follow Redacted, Declassified Mysteries on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts. You can listen to Redacted early and ad-free right now on Wondery Plus.
In the 1980s, a rosé swept the country.
Hey, Mike, I really like this White Zinfandel.
Well, good. Now put it down. We're going to try another one.
White Zin became America's top-selling wine. But most don't know that this sweet drink has a sour history. What began in 1986 with counterfeit bottles.
A big fraud, a multi-million-dollar fraud.
Sent investigators chasing one of the most powerful families in the business, the Licciardis. But the closer the feds got to them, the more dangerous things became. It's a story of deceit.
At the time, I was paranoid.
Threats.
You touch my kids, I will kill you.
And murder.
With a .22 caliber bullet to the head.
What started with a scheme to mislabel wine spilled into a blood-soaked battle for succession. Welcome to Bloodvines. You can binge listen to Bloodvines exclusively and ad-free on Wondery Plus. Join Wondery Plus in the Wondery app, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify.
A few miles from the glass spires of Midtown Atlanta lies the South River Forest. In 2021 and 2022, the woods became a home to activists from all over the country who gathered to stop the nearby construction of a massive new police training facility, nicknamed Cop City.
At approximately 9 o'clock this morning, as law enforcement was moving through various sectors of the property, an individual, without warning, shot a Georgia State Patrol trooper.
This is We Came to the Forest, a story about resistance.
The abolitionist mission isn't done until every prison is empty and shut down.
Love and fellowship.
It was probably the happiest I've ever been in my life.
And the lengths we'll go to protect the things we hold closest to our hearts. Follow We Came to the Forest on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts. You can binge all episodes of We Came to the Forest early and ad-free right now by joining Wondery Plus.
Had they, however, followed the little woman to her dressing room, they would have seen her throw herself on a chair with her head bowed on the table, as if her heart, and cry as if her heart was breaking. The headline, Donlin was drunk, for she is married now herself, and a short time previously had, after scouring the town, found her husband, Mike Donlin, dead drunk in a Russian bathhouse. Less than 24 hours, he had tried to smash her pretty face with his fist and had sent her screaming into her own, can't read that, in which, terrified, she looked at herself, imploring Mike to be good through the be good through the keyhole. Unable to vent his wrath on his wife, Donlin proceeded to drown himself further in liquor. In the morning, his little wife started out on a still hunt after a great deal of trouble succeeded in finding him. It is only a tale of an actress and her drunken husband, a tale which alleged respectability will turn up its nose, secure in the belief the little laughing creature of the footlights is incapable of feeling and sentiment. In other words, she's a human being too. Just because her husband's a drunk and beats her up don't mean that that's nothing. That's this version of that.
Yeah.
100 years ago version of that. But the tale she told it with the large tears rolling down her woebegone face and her voice choking with sobs seems pathetic, just as pathetic as the tale of sorrows of a real husband being in the workaday world. Wow.
In that context of pathetic, are they fucking ridiculing her?
No, I think they mean it like
in an endearing way,
sympathetic.
Yeah.
That's how they used to. The pathetic used to be like, oh,
yeah.
So
there's
pathetic.
two ways of
yeah. Like you'd see like a stray dog and you'd call it pathetic, like you want to take it in type of thing.
Right.
It says wife's success spoiled him. Later in the article, they were married a year ago, but his wife's success was too much for Donlin, and her hard-earned money, coming from the tiny fame for which she had fought night after night from the lowest rung of the chorus, was spent by him in drink. Jesus.
So she's out there acting her ass off, and he's just spending the money on booze.
Fucking buying turkey dinners for strangers who rob him.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
There's more to that story, I guarantee.
Oh, God, yeah, absolutely.
Who buys a man dinner and then invites him to sleep in his bed? There's only, you know what I mean?
I can tell you who does.
Yeah.
Gay guys, probably. I would assume. Same way straight guys and buy a girl dinner and invite her to sleep in his bed. Same thing.
Who's working that Russian bathhouse he was at?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. This is a lot going on here for this guy. Naturally, there followed the usual promises, the usual fits of repentance, and the usual relapses. The story was repeated night after night, every evening when the little woman beamed and smiled across the stage, cracked her little jokes, and brought happiness and laughter to the hearts of the audience. Few knew that she was unable to bring a smile to her own lips or happiness to herself. It grew. Well, go ahead. No,
I don't like the way they keep calling her little. Like
little, yeah.
Like she's insignificant.
She is a fully grown adult famous person. But
stop calling her little.
She's a poor little thing. It grew from worse with the tears welling in the eyes of her warm little heart, torn with misery. She danced onto the stage, but she omitted to sing that particular verse. She sent Mike to New York to sign with the Giants and to remain 6 months. To return in 6 months a changed man. Go play baseball for 6 months and come back sobered up, and it's fine.
If he does not for 6 months,
go grow up, please. If he does not straighten up in that time, she will bring suit for divorce. But she cried as she said it. For Mike is a good boy when he's sober, and I love him. Wow.
He's going to be a fucking monster for the next 6 months.
He's going to be a monster, and you know what? She might need this ad right below this.
What is it?
Diarrhea in giant letters. When you want a quick cure without any loss of time and one that is followed by no bad results, use Chamberlain's colic, cholera, and diarrhea remedy.
They think that the bad part about diarrhea is that you lose time.
You lose time. Not that there's shit running down your leg.
You want to get your life back?
How much time are you spending pooping? Too much? We'll help you.
Your time.
Wow, your time.
It's the most uncomfortable thing on the planet is diarrhea.
It never fails and is pleasant to take. It's equally valuable for children. It's famous for its cure over a large part of the civilized world.
How much time are you losing to diarrhea?
Oh, man.
That's fucking horrible.
He returns it to the Giants in 1908. The audience loves him.
Mm-hmm.
People yelling, "Oh, you Mabel's Mike," because he's now got a famous wife. They love it. They think he's great. He
gonna go well.
homers into the right field bleachers to win the game at the end. Thousands of fans came onto the field and mobbed him and took his cap and ripped the buttons off his shirt and all that shit. Seriously.
Mabel's Mike.
Oh, Mabel's Mike. Look at you. Anybody interesting on the team? Nope, just red. Oh, Rube. There's a Rube now. Rube Marquard. So we got a Rube, a Red, a Doc. This is a Buck. There's a Buck. A Rube. A Buck, a Rube.
Buck?
No, Buck Herzog this time.
Oh, a new one.
A Bull. Bull Durham is on the team. A man named Bull Durham is on this fucking team. A Bull, a Rube, a fucking Doc, a Hooks. Holy shit, a Buck. This is awesome.
Were the Durham Bulls named after him?
Well, I mean, the team is Durham, so I don't know. Bull Durham, Bull. I don't know what it is. Wow, this team is, and a Red. And a guy named Roy, all in one. Roy.
This is
all
our
in
team.
one. This is our team. I'm rooting for the 1908 Giants. They're my favorite team ever. They have all the weird guys on their team here. So 1908, he does great, hits .334, which is awesome. After the season, he won the New York Journal Trophy as New York's most popular player. John Barrymore, the movie star
and Drew's dad.
And not dad, I think grandfather.
Is it really?
I think it might be great-grandfather, as a matter of fact. But
they're
it's at
really
least
related,
grandfather.
though.
Absolutely, yeah, that whole family. The Barrymores, yeah, that's a big family. One of Donlin's best friends and drinking buddies performed Hamlet's soliloquy at a dinner in his honor. John Barrymore did a thing for him. So, yeah, he does very well that year. Makes $4,500.
Okay,
including $500 for being the team captain, because you want to follow his example. Yeah. October 26, 1908, vaudeville comes a-calling.
Yeah? Oh, he's going to act now.
Absolutely. Vincent Bryan wrote a one-act play called Stealing Home for Height and Donlin. Stealing Home, and he wrote it for the couple. Yeah. It opened at the Hammerstein Theater in New York.
Really?
To great acclaim. Variety said about it, quote, Mike Donlin, as a polite comedian, is quite the most delightful vaudeville surprise you ever enjoyed.
Wow.
The New York Globe said Donlin's dancing created a small pandemonium of uproar.
He's good.
For the next 3 winters, the pair performed Stealing Home in front of sold-out houses from Boston to San Francisco.
Wow.
They just, in the off-season, they would just go fucking
one-act play?
Yeah.
How long is this? It's got to be intermission and all that, right?
Probably an hour or something, maybe one of those.
One act.
One act. One critic didn't think he was so good. They said height was so good she could carry him. Thereafter, Donlin never lost the bug. He vowed never to return to baseball because he was making more money in vaudeville.
Sure.
He said, fucking stupid. Why do that? So the couple pantomimed their vaudeville routine for camera, lip-syncing to the dialogue they pre-recorded, and it was released with phonograph records, and the early talkie became hugely popular. As if one of the first talkies.
Yeah. I want to Google and see if that play ever played the theaters that we play. That feels fascinating.
I'm sure it did. If we play those old theaters, I'm sure it did. Like the one in Denver that's been around.
The one in
since
Minneapolis we just played was from
yeah.
That was a vaudeville theater.
That was, but I think that was 1914.
Oh, I wonder if that thing was even around.
This was like 1907 to 1909. Yeah. He doesn't play for 2 years. He sits out and plays, just does the plays, and then he comes back in 1909. It ran its course, and things weren't going so well on the stage. So he comes back. Now hasn't played in 3 years. He's been drinking every night, hanging out, doing that sort of thing. They said, quote, he had more arguments than hits for the Giants. One day he poked his finger into the press box at the Polo Grounds and told New York Times reporter Harry Cross, don't you ever call me Turkey in your paper again.
Okay. Well,
he has had enough.
Yeah.
That's what they call you. They were 99-54 and won the Giants, and they finished in first place in the National League.
Not bad.
So not too shabby. Anybody fucking interesting here? More Reds and Freds and Rubes and Bugs. We have a Bugs.
Hey!
Bugs Raymond. We have Dick, Bugs, Hooks, Red, Rube, and Doc, and Admiral, all on one team.
Admiral, first name.
And Buck.
Hey.
Sorry. And Buck. That's awesome. Fuck, that team rules.
Admiral.
God damn it. Fuck, I would have had so much fun just with people's names back then. That's awesome. So he is purchased on August 1st, 1911, purchased by the Boston Rustlers from the New York Giants. Okay. So they're 44-107-5 that year, the Boston Rustlers.
Oh, God, that's...
Shit
Why would
pounded.
That's terrible. Now he's got to go play for bad teams. He's been playing for the best team in the fucking league pretty much every year.
Yeah, great teams. And now it's the fucking worst team. Finished 8th in the National League, which I think is last. And there's a Hank. There's a Hank and a Doc, and a Buck, but that's about it. And a Peaches. Peaches Graham is here as well. Old Peaches is back. Very nice here. Hub. Big Jeff Pfeffer is also on the team. So that's kind of nice. God, these teams never disappoint. And there's a guy named Fuller Thompson.
Okay.
Fuller's his first name. Does he have like an emptier Thompson who's a skinny brother? He's the fat one.
The smaller one.
Fuller. All right.
Wasn't there a Rube in the second Major League? Yeah.
Major League, the catcher.
Yeah.
He
was the Rube.
He was Rube. Bet you wonder how I got that name. No, I got a pretty good idea about how that happened, Jake says.
Got to be acting like your best pig died.
Yeah. Got to be acting like your best pig died. Fall of 1911, Height is in Europe on a European trip, his wife. She falls ill. Turns out she has cancer.
Oh, my.
That's her illness.
That was around back then?
Yeah, it's been around for a long time. On her deathbed, she read her husband an account of Napoleon's return from Elba because, quote, she wanted him to understand that if anything happened to her, he was to quit vaudeville and go back to the game.
What?
Stop doing this.
Yeah.
If I die, you can't do this anymore. So he does. February 17th, 1912, he's traded by the Braves, who the Rustlers become the Braves, to the Pittsburgh Pirates. So he's on the Pirates. They finished second in the National League that year. Anybody good? Honus Wagner's on that team. So
very cool.
Hall of Fame. Dots. First base, Dots Miller. Dots. I like that. Dots. We got an Ovid, a Solly, a Howie, a Lefty, but that's about it. And a Mickey. Okay. And a Babe Adams. So not bad, but I mean, there's been better teams in terms of that. So Harry Gardner, is he the guy who later on was a manager?
I don't know.
I think it is. Maybe it is. All right, never mind. August 5th, 1912, there's Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. Mike Donlin is restless, it says. That's the headline. Mike Donlin wants to play ball or get away from Pittsburgh. This is no secret. The Biffer, they call him a Biffer. I guess it means he hits.
What is that, the coach?
I think it means a hitter. Okay. I think. Isn't doing any fussing, but he is worried nevertheless. He kids himself and the others about his idleness, but all the same, he's counting the days and waiting for the time when Clark will play him. He's just being benched.
Yeah.
Tonight, a group of oh, Jesus Christ, this paper's so fucked. A group of pirates, actually, stood in front of the hotel, and a fat man weighing in at something like 300 pounds waddled along. Quick, fellas, have a look, cried Mike excitedly, pointing to the corpulent figure with his cane. There goes Mike Donlin 2 years from now if Clark doesn't play him.
Uh-oh.
That's what he said about himself. That's fucking hilarious, this poor bastard. Poor guy's like, hey, what are you picking on me for?
Yeah, I thought he was going to have to fight the big guy.
Jesus Christ, that's what I thought, too. The guy was going to turn around. Next thing you know, he stabs him in the fucking chest or something.
Beats him with his cane.
Yeah, so he's 34 years old, and he hits 316 this year. Not terrible.
Not bad,
Makes $5,000. Wow. That's pretty good. October of 1912, Mabel dies from cancer.
Oh, God damn it. That was fast.
That was fast. The same month, the Pirates release him as well.
Oh, no.
So, yeah, that's very sad. They said she had been ill and in great suffering as well.
Yeah.
Let's see. Oh, I think that's right. That's the other problem here. I knew I remembered something about that. Mrs. Height is an ardent Christian Scientist, and her daughter became converted to the belief that prayer would heal her. She didn't take any medicine either for this. Not that 1912 cancer remedies, but it might have done something rather than just go, we'll pray for her. So,
wow.
My God. Now, in that same paper, after that sad, sad thing, they do have something to try to cheer you up. The jokes section. Want to hear what passes for a joke in 1912 in the paper?
What did they think was funny?
Okay. Here it is. Went back to one of my old fishing places today. Catch anything, Grandpop? Nah, can't understand it neither. They used to bite well there 60 years ago.
Okay.
That's
I guess
joke.
over the last 60 years, it's all fucked out?
It's all fucked out, yeah.
Okay.
Here's one. What's new out your way? Well, the other night a few of us voters hired a hall and took turns addressing the audience of candidates. Get it?
What?
We had a voter thing for the candidates. We reversed
town hall
it.
Meeting?
Oh, my God. That's what that is, essentially. Yeah. Here's another one. That's my idea of a pleasant job. What's that? Scouting for a comic opera company. Is that a joke? These are in the newspaper, in the humor section. What the fuck is going on? I'm so annoyed. So
I guess,
okay.
Is there none of those available or something?
Oh, because it said that all the old plays that you saw 20 years ago are now coming around as musical comedies. They've been doing that since then. Yeah, we have no idea. Yeah. Just admit, we have no new ideas. As an industry, we've come up with nothing.
We've thought of it all. It's all been said.
Thought
it's
of
all
it all.
done.
Here's another obscure comic book character that we're going to pretend that has been beloved for the last 50 years. Here's another one of them.
We need you to know how it was created. Its origin story is imperative to selling more comic books.
That'll be the 7th movie we put out, will be its origin story, but that'll be by part 7. So
we'll get there.
Or whatever horse shit came out in the 90s that we're recreating and making more of the fucking classic whatever movie that you liked as a kid that we're going to bend over a fucking bar stool and rape now. Perfect.
And we'll team it up with another character that you don't know.
It's going to be great. So, December 24th, Christmas Eve, 1912. It's a Christmas miracle. He's selected off waivers by the Philadelphia Phillies.
Great.
After the Phillies claim him, he announces his retirement.
Oh, he's done.
Yep. So he's released by the Phillies. But late in the summer of 1913, he tries to make a comeback, playing 36 games with a minor league team in Jersey City. McGraw then named him to an all-star team that went on a postseason barnstorming tour through Europe, Asia, and Africa, and all that. So British fans knew who he was even because he had been over in Europe with his wife.
Oh, with Mrs. Height.
They chanted Mike from over there from America.
Yes, it's better than Turkey.
It's better. He's happy with that. Much better. 1914, February 20th, he signs as a free agent with the New York Giants.
Really?
Based on his hitting on this tour, McGraw decides to give him another chance. He's just trying to get him a payday. It's his buddy. Yeah. The New York World newspaper said, quote, "The Apollo of the Whackstick is back with the Giants." The Whackstick. Again, between Diamond Dick and the Whackstick, they got to stop infringing on what I call my penis. This is getting ridiculous now. This is getting ridiculous.
Jesus Christ. We should just claim both those names. I'll be the Whackstick. I don't care.
Who cares? Yeah, Diamond Dick. It's all good.
That's our morning radio name, Diamond Dick. Oh,
if it all falls apart and we have to do that. If you ever hear us on pre-7 o'clock in the morning, things have gone really bad.
But we will be Diamond Dick and the Whackstick.
We will be Diamond Dick and the Whackstick, though. That's for sure. You can count on that.
Talking about the comedian that is at the comedy club in this town this weekend.
That's a promise right now. We promise you that. We'll be doing doing an on location from an appliance store in the parking lot. No problem.
Diamond Dick and the Whackstick at the Maytag store all weekend.
Diamond Dick and the Whackstick, 742, 84 degrees. Those lines are open. Lines are open. Let's see what you got to say. Hey, what do you say?
Unbelievable.
Oh, man. So the team this year, 1914 Giants, let's see who they have. There's a Milt. That's not that great. There's plenty of Milts. We got a Red. All right. A Red. A Christy Mathewson's still there. Hooks, Hank, and Ferdy. Not that great.
And all the every roster right now has a James, a Tony. All these names exist. Why not just go back to cool nicknames like this?
Calling everyone Buck. Yeah. I think Zoomhoff ruined it probably.
There's a lot of Paul. That's awful.
Yeah. So that's his last year. He played 12 years in the league. He's got a .333 lifetime batting average.
Get out of here.
97 triples, 51 homers, 543 ribbies. Fucking decent.
Great player.
Very decent player. Yeah, I'm looking at here's OPS 854 career. Not bad at all. So 1914, he gets married again. He marries an actress named Rita Ross.
He loves the actresses.
He loves it. He likes that style. He likes Hollywood. He likes all that. She is known for her part in the musical comedy team of Ross and Fenton.
Oh yeah,
which is nothing like Rub Right and Swallow from Small Town Murder. Listen to Small Town Murder on Friday. It'll come out. There's a couple guys named Rub Right and Swallow, and it's amazing. You got to hear that shit. So that's the Express.
Was it and Fenton? Who are they? What? She's part of it.
She is the Ross of Ross and Fenton. She's Rita Ross is who he marries here. It says Michael Joseph Donlin of the Giants was married here yesterday to Miss Rita Ross, niece of Mr. and Mrs. Charles J. Ross of Ross and Fenton at the Church of the Holy Spirit by the Reverend Father, blah, blah, blah. The best man was Fred Mace, and the bridesmaid was Miss Blanche Ross, sister of the bride. They will live in New York. Okay. So, he gets released and he's done. 1915, starting off his movie career about a film about his own life called Right Off the Bat. doing silent
that's not
films.
what she said. She said never do this again. Not always do this.
You mean do this all the time? I'm in it. Let's marry an actress. 1916, he managed a semi-pro baseball team in New Jersey, and the next winter ran a baseball clinic and a boxing tournament in Cuba.
Oh.
Man. 1917, he managed the Memphis Chicks of the Southern League. At first, he was popular, but then eventually he put himself in to pitch and made a fool of himself, and the fans booed him. So by mid-season, he either quit or was fired. There's kind of
he was
murky.
Drunk, right? He was just
I'm
drinking?
sure. Yeah, he's Tom Hanks in League of Their Own out there.
Right.
I'm going to pitch now. Hold on, I got to pee for fucking 3 minutes.
Wave my little hat.
Yeah, wave my little hat. So later that year, the War Department, because World War I is going on now, appointed Donlin to teach baseball to U.S. soldiers in France, because that's important for war.
For the war effort, we need to teach the boys. Okay.
In order to beat the Kaiser, they got to know how to hit the curveball, son.
Bring your Whackstick.
So bring your Whackstick along. 1918, Donlin returns to California as a scout for the Boston Braves, Diamond Dick and the Whackstick. Immediately, he gets into movies here. John Barrymore helped him. That's the thing.
Oh.
Yes, he appeared with John Barrymore, and his first movies here, Raffles, the Amateur Cracksman in 1917. Wow, Raffles, the Amateur Cracksman. He's then in Jack Spurlock, Prodigal.
What is Jack Spurlock? Why do I know that? Why do I know those two words together?
Maybe it's a detective
story. It's a
story
character
or something.
I think it is. It
Jack
might be.
Spurlock, yeah.
Yeah.
Brave and Bold, he's in after that. That's presented by William Fox of Fox.
Oh, really?
Fox Studio.
Fox
the Unchastened Woman after that. Oh, boy, he's in that. He plays a character called O'Brien. Filthy.
Oh.
Filthy. So he went to France. When he was over in France, the people over there thought he was cool. Anyway, the soldiers, they knew who he was and shit like that. So they were like, wow, this is pretty badass. He has a lot of money problems. So he's always in movies and shit like that, as we'll talk about. February 20th, 1920. He's got an article here. Slugger of the Giants discusses baseball, boxing, acting, played with Charlie Demon Doyle. Okay. He says, McGraw's the greatest manager in history. As Mike Donlin said that, he lifted his feet up onto a trunk, sank back into a chair. He then passed the package, and we lighted up.
What is that? His
dick, a joint? I have no idea. I was determined to get a story from Mike Donlin, now starring in Turn to the Right, the movie. Immediately after the prologue, I started for the stage. After crawling through the ropes, wings, backs, drops, lights, and a couple of million other things, I found the former baseball player in his dressing room. I bothered him in the green room.
I hunted him down.
It didn't look a bit like a clubhouse. Paint, powder, and all the rest were lying on the table, and there was Donlin. He smiled and started to chat, exactly what I wanted him to do. To get him started, I asked him whom he thought was the greatest manager in history, and without a second delay, he said McGraw. But Donlin at that moment was not worrying about McGraw. He was thinking about Charlie Doyle, whom he'd met for the first time in several years, a few minutes before the show started. He said, quote, I remember Sacramento very well. I played my last game in the California League in this town, and the worst drubbing I ever got in my life I got right here. Charlie Doyle was in the box against me, and they beat me 11-8. It was sure murder. I went back to St. Louis after that. So, yeah, he said, when a fellow broke into the big brush those days, back in the 90s, meaning the 1890s,
right,
it sure was a hard job. All the old-timers looked you over. They made it darn hard, too. Now a fella joins a big league club and he gets all the help in the world. What's more, does this sound familiar?
Yeah.
To people saying
shit, yeah.
It's the exact same state. He could have said even in the 90s.
Yeah, the era before this was better.
It's just harder, which is usually true, but still. He said, now a fella joins a big league, gets all the help in the world. What's more, when he travels, he gets a lower berth. And when he goes to the clubhouse, he finds everything for his convenience, meaning he gets better travel accommodations, and they give him stuff.
Better food there.
Yeah. I was playing regularly 2 years before I ever got a lower berth in traveling. Then I only got it by drawing the right number out of a hat. Until then, I didn't even get a chance to draw out of the hat. Jesus Christ. He said He's never, and since then he's never seen California. Oh, yeah. But I sure do love this country. He loves California. He talks about chatting. He said, They said, did you ever try prize fighting? And he said, nope, that and football I've never tried. Funny thing, isn't it? They say boxing is brutal, but then they all go to football games. I think boxing is the greatest game in the world. I'm a ring fan. If I had a kid a year old, I would start teaching him boxing. Oh, that's good. He'd have brain damage by the time he was 7. Perfect.
I'd punch the shit out of a 1-year-old.
I'll knock him down. Got to let him get back up. He said, and it's not as brutal as football. When a fellow gets enough, he can just lie down. In football, if you happen to slip, 21 fellas pile up on you. Back then, they'd have to keep you down. They did. They'd have pile-ups because back then, if you fell down and you were facing forward, you could get up and keep going. So they had to hold you down, and people would pile onto you until you were stopped completely, and then the whistle would blow. That's how football used to work. In the ring, you're there with the other fellas facing you, and you have a chance. Then there are a lot of rules that protect you. Okay. So they say that the biggest thing about Mike Donlin is himself. He has a winning smile. This is the paper. The sort of smile that makes you like him the first time you see him. After a 25-minute chat, one called and Donlin pulled his feet off the trunk. Guess I had better go up. And the interview was over. He went on stage. There you go. 1920 here, he talks about how he used to play for he's talking about the World Series here. Okay. He's talking about all of this shit. He's talking, this is interesting. He said, well, anyhow, I went all the way from the outfield to tell Matty not to let you get a chance at the ball before you made the hit that really won the game. After we were in the clubhouse, I went after him about it. He said he had to put it somewhere. I said, why didn't you put it at him or under him? Anywhere but over the plate. Don't know what that means. It's just old-timey talking. I like that.
Yeah.
Chance, the other player, said, that's so. Steiny came up the next and fanned. However, we beat you. Yes, you won with a bunch of pop bottles bouncing off your head, laughed Donlin. Apparently they were throwing shit at him. That's interesting. I guess out here, it's slow getting underway. The authorities lit up under whether the owner of the house. Oh, interesting. Okay, here it is. They're talking about, I can't figure out why any of us would take a bribe. There wasn't a fellow on the team that had $3 and was all trying to get in the series for some getaway dough. Okay, because he's saying there's a problem there. Somebody was supposed to have offered somebody money in 1908. It's ridiculous. So, 1922, Mike Donlin is to play as an Islander here. Another doubleheader, not hockey. Another doubleheader is scheduled tomorrow at Douglas Park. 2 games were slated for the afternoon when it became apparent yesterday that the doubleheader originally planned could go through as one game, only as one game. Feature of tomorrow will be the appearance of Mike Donlin, former New York Giant, now Boston Red Sox scout, in the role of Islander. Donlin has consented to don the harness again just for the day. The president of the RF Island Fans Association announced that Mike will be seen as either first base or in the outfield. He's going to play again. That's nice. November 26, 1923. As an actor, I'm a star outfielder, he says. That makes sense.
So he's not that good?
As an actor, I'm a pretty good baseball player.
Oh, got it. Yeah.
He says that he's struggling as an actor when he is by nature, instinct and inclination, everything an outfielder. He says, but reviewers insist he does act pretty well. He makes fun of himself, even though the reviewers actually give him pretty good reviews.
He seems pretty humble and fun.
Yeah, that's kind of what's going on here. So Rita Ross, the daughter of Charles Ross, in his day a famous thespian. That's his wife that he married here. They said that she inherited real talent, too, and the two of them are quite a talented couple. 1923, he's in a movie called Railroaded.
Yeah. Oh, no, what? How do you make that movie when that's how... What?
Railroaded. Like his parents. Exactly. I was like, Railroaded. Please remember
can't be
that.
In that movie.
Railroaded. I know someone who was railroaded. So 1923 is in something called The Busher.
Yeah.
It's a short, and he plays the rival in it.
Oh, he's the bad guy.
Bad guy. 1923 is in Woman Proof.
Oh. I'd like to be Woman Proof.
Woman Proof, damn it. He plays a foreman. Next up, he's in The Unknown Purple.
Oh.
I don't know what that is. He plays Burton. Then he's in The Flaming Barriers.
Okay.
Then he's in The Troubleshooter.
Oh.
Then he's in a movie called Hit and Run. That's all 1924 and 23.
Wow.
So he's working a lot. At one point, August 24th, 1923, he's doing stunt shit. He's injured in a motorcycle accident.
Yeah, because he's fucking, what, 40?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, he's around
can't do
pushing
this.
it. Yeah, he's a former giant, blah, blah, blah. In the care of physicians, following a sensational spill on a motorcycle, Donlin was injured while doing a stunt in the motion pictures. He suffered severe bruises.
No, man, you got to stop.
That's fucking crazy. So, yeah, you can feel bad for him now. He's all beaten up, and he's trying to hustle, and he's like an old comic working cruise ships right now. It's a hard time.
It's sad now.
It's getting sad. I mean, I feel bad for him, but not nearly as bad as I feel for Mike Donlin, FinTech Business Development in New York. Here, he went to Colgate University. Mike Donlin, writing and editing professional in New Hampshire. Went to Emerson College. Mike Donlin, writer, educator, consultant, trainer, entrepreneur.
Oh, yeah.
A little Tommy Wiseau sound to that, a little too much. Mike Donlin, commanding officer, Marine Unmanned Aerial Vehicle Squadron 2 in North Carolina. He's got a lot going on there, that Mike. Interesting here. They talk about this
and every time you say Mike Donlin, I see Mike Donnelly from Black Sheep. It's the same guy. That's Tommy Boy's name. Tommy Boy. That's
Tommy.
Mike's name. Yeah,
it's Tommy Boy.
Is it?
Tommy Boy.
Is he Mike or is his brother Mike?
Oh fuck! Now I can't remember.
Vote for Mike Donnelly. It's his brother.
No,
yep, it's his brother. Yeah.
I'm like, oh no, now I don't remember. Those movies blend together so much to the same movie.
I don't know his real name. I don't know his name in that movie. I think.
I don't know either.
I don't know.
Tommy.
His brother. Yeah.
Tommy.
He's Tommy Boy.
He's just Tommy Boy. Hey, Tommy Boy's in this movie again. Good. Yeah. So in this, by the way, by his stunt thing, there is an article right underneath it that says, believe 10-year car too speedy. May limit ad club auto races to vintage of 1910. Check this out.
Saying?
They're saying that racing new cars is too fast. It's too fast, so they got to back it up a little bit. Belief was expressed by the meeting of the Ad Club Auto Gymkhana Committee, yesterday, that the 10-year-old cars may prove too fast for the track and thus endanger life and property. There was a suggestion made that the limit be moved to 13 years old, permitting only cars of the 1910 vintage and back of that.
Those 10-year-old cars are doing upwards of 30 miles an hour.
People used to get tickets for going 22 and shit back then. No kidding.
He was hip-hop's biggest mogul, the man who redefined fame, fortune, and the music industry.
The first male rapper to be honored on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, Sean Diddy Combs.
Diddy built an empire and lived a life most people only dream about.
Everybody know ain't no party like a Diddy party, so.
Yeah, that's what's up.
But just as quickly as his empire rose, it came crashing down.
Today I'm announcing the unsealing of a 3-count indictment, charging Sean Combs with racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking, interstate transportation for prostitution.
I was up. I hit rock bottom, but I made no excuses. I'm disgusted. I'm so sorry.
Until you're wearing an orange jumpsuit, it's not real. Now it's real.
From his meteoric rise to his shocking fall from grace, from law and crime, this is the rise and fall of Diddy. Listen to the rise and fall of Diddy exclusively with Wondery Plus.
It was decided to eliminate stunts.
Oh?
What kind of stunts you think they're doing? Jumping shit?
Burnouts? Fucking sliding them?
Nope. It was decided to eliminate stunts such as backing into parking spaces.
Oh, boy. I'm a stunt driver,
Jay. Stunt driver. Wow. Instead of that, all the stunts will contain action. There will be 5-mile race for men, 2-mile race for women. They can't possibly go 5 miles without adjusting their makeup. They're going to be in the rearview mirrors. You know how it is.
What, do you think they're going to fucking back up?
A 5-mile race for Japanese drivers. Because they're all going to run into each other, so we can't let them with the ladies and the regular people. Back then, that's what they think. Mile from standing start, a relay race for dealers' teams, an obstacle race, a ring tourney, a balancing performance, and the auto parade. Okay. Jesus, that sounds crazy. But there's no backing in, though. September 16th, 1924, Mike Donlin has role in Gibson film. Not Mel Gibson. Different one. He plays his role in the major league as a major league scout in Hit and Run.
Oh, that's what the movie's about.
Hoot Gibson's new Universal Baseball picture now showing. Donlin used to be a star outfielder and crack hitter and can still judge him at the plate. Although he has forsaken the national pastime for a motion picture career, others in the cast are DeWitt Jennings, Marion Harlan, Harold Goodwin, Cyril Ring, and William A. Steele. Well, those names are not nearly as fun as his baseball teammates. No. That's fucking lame. August 24th, 1925. This is from the Chattanooga Daily Times. And speaking of ball players, I recently inquired the whereabouts of Mike Donlin, the former ball player. He was one of my youthful heroes and in many ways the most picturesque baseball player who ever graced the diamond. Oh. Boys all over the country imitated the cocky Mike Donlin walk. Recently I heard from Donlin in Hollywood about after about 50 had written me that he was in the films. He is doing well and he's happy. I hope walking with the same old swagger.
Yeah, same old turkey walk.
Jesus. 1926, 3 films are released. In one, he played one of the Southern generals in Buster Keaton's classic, The General.
Really?
Yeah. He appeared in The Sea Beast, a Moby Dick adaptation, in which John Barrymore played Ahab. He's in big movies. These are big fucking movies. And he had a part in another movie here. 1927, people love him in Hollywood. Really? They said he's always in demand to be an assistant director in baseball movies to give films authenticity.
Yeah.
He's the guy. They're what do they call them? The consultants now that they have. These will have some guy like on The Wire. They had the guy people who were in prison for 30 years be their consultants because they knew the streets and that's what they did.
We need you to validate this movie and do it authentically.
That's what it is, man. In 1927, actors and movie stars staged a minstrel show. That's not good. To benefit to raise money to send Donlin to the Mayo Clinic for a major operation. So he's in The Sea Beast that year.
That's John Barrymore.
Self-explanatory. Yeah. Her Second Chance.
Okay.
In 1926, Ella Cinders. He's in. Oh. I don't know. He plays a film studio gateman, so he's a security guard in it.
Backward. That's Cinderella.
Yeah. He plays the Fighting Marine. He's in that movie, starring Gene Tunney, who was the boxer who fought Jack Dempsey back then all the time. Oh. He had 2 fights against Dempsey back then. The General, he's in. That's the Buster Keaton movie. Slide Kelly Slide, which is his first porn, actually. No, it's a baseball movie. White Flannels. He's in that. He plays a coach in that movie. Okay. And then a movie called The Noose, which I don't know what that's about. I'm scared to find out what it's about in 1928.
That could be real bad.
Oh, man. Yeah, the benefit show for Mike Donlin was at the Philharmonic here. Okay. They had all sorts of stars, they said, from vaudeville, from everywhere all over the place, getting him money for an operation. John Barrymore is chairman of the entertainment committee, and with Lou Cody, Fred Niblo, Charles Murray, and George Jessel, masters of ceremony, and Arthur Kay, musical director, will appear on the program together with other notables. So you could do that. Then, when you're done with that, you can go out to the movies and see what's playing.
What's playing?
What's playing back then? Here's one. This is fucking, they had porn back then.
Really?
This is their version of porn. This is from 1927. Exclusive reels for men only, it says in huge letters.
What?
Continuous daily from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. It's called The Naked Truth.
12 hours of this thing.
Of it over and over again. No greater sex story told is what it says.
Wow.
In 1927, that was like crazy. No one could. Wow, that would be like, it's starring Jack Mulhall and Helen Chadwick. Orange Grove Theater, 730 South Grand. The Naked Truth. All seats 50 cents, which is a fucking lot back then. That's expensive back then. Another one here. More laughs than Alias the Deacon. The Little Spitfire. Go see that, apparently. That'll be playing at the Hollywood Playhouse. I guess so. Seats are 50 cents or $1 for the best seats here. And then you can go see Al Jolson in a matinee as well. He'll be in blackface, I'm sure. I
didn't realize he was that old.
Yeah. Oh, that's when this was coming out. Yeah. The jazz singer, that was the first.
Yeah.
That's this time. That was 1920s, late 20s. 1929 to 33, Donlin has his first role in a talkie.
Oh.
Yes. He plays a condemned convict in the movie Thunderbolt with George Bancroft starring there. Yeah, he plays Kentucky Sampson. That's his name.
Okay.
Yes. So he's also in The Hangman's House in 1928. Warming Up, starring Richard Dix. Beggars, Dix, D-I-X, Dix,
Yeah.
Richard Dix. Dick Dix. That's him. Dix. He's not Diamond Dick, but it'll do.
It's not even Whackstick, for Christ's
No,
sake.
Jesus. Whackstick and Richard Dick and Dick and Diamond Dick. Beggars of Life, he's in. He plays Bill. A movie called Riley the Cop. He plays a crook.
Oh.
There's one movie, 1929, Noisy Neighbors. Not Nosy Neighbors, Noisy Neighbors.
Yeah, that's
he plays
too, yeah.
the second son there. Then he's in Spite Marriage. A movie called Spite Marriage, where he plays a man in ship's engine room. Also, Below the Deadline, where he plays a guy named Sandy. And then he's in Thunderbolt also, as we talked about. He continues in 1930. He's in a movie called They Learned About Women. He's a baseball player.
Okay.
He's in a movie called Born Reckless, where he plays a gangster.
Oh.
Yeah. Ladies Love Brutes, starring George Bancroft. George Bancroft must have liked him. He must have been friends with John Barrymore or something.
Yeah.
He plays a kidnapper in that. Feels like his friends are just getting him small parts for paydays.
Yeah, but some range, too. He's not just playing a baseball player. They got him as a crook, a
criminal, a kidnapper, a condemned
guy in a boat.
Convict.
Yeah.
Seems like he's playing a lot of
cameo roles. Yeah.
Yeah. For the Defense, starring William Powell. He plays Snooper.
Oh.
Okay. Her Man, a movie called Her Man. He plays a bartender in that. Up the River, he plays a baseball manager. And then The Widow from Chicago.
All in 1 year.
That's all 1930.
Wow.
Which is a lot. November 20th, 1930. November 24th, 1930. They said, this is from him, I think. That's nice. Yeah. The talk turned. This is from the paper. The Merkel Boner of 1908. They talk about
what?
Merkel Boner. That's a famous play where a guy fucked up in the World Series, and it's called. It was a big
boner.
They called it a boner back then, and it's known as the Merkel Boner of 1908 to this day.
Big boner. Yeah.
Merkel's boner, man. Merkel and his famous boner. So it said the talk turned to Donlin's start in the big leagues, touched on such famous figures as Pat Thibault, Tim Hurst, a bunch of other people I've never heard of.
Yeah.
Then Donlin told the first accurate story of the famous Cub Giant game of 1908. He was in this game with the boner, in which Fred Merkel failed to touch second base. That's what the fucking problem was. I remember hearing about this since the beginning of liking baseball, this whole thing. Donlin said, I've heard 1,000 versions of that game, but if you're interested, I'll tell you just what happened, and it may come in handy in your writing.
Okay.
That's good. Of the 25,000 people at the Polo Grounds that day, I doubt that more than 2 could honestly swear that Merkel failed to touch second. Those 2 were Merkel himself and Johnny Evers. Emsley, the umpire behind the plate, refused to call Merkel out. Hank O'Day didn't give a decision until the next day, but the ball which Tinker carried to second base to complete the play was not the ball used in the game. How's that for an unusual situation?
He's
That's
saying
what happened.
they cheated?
The guy didn't touch second base when he was running, and the other team scored a run and won, but he never touched second base.
Okay.
So the fucking shortstop grabbed a ball, because by then the crowd had come on the field and everything. So they just found another baseball, and he just ran over and touched second base and said he's out. The umpire said, I don't know what the fuck happened, so I'm going to give it a minute. And it took till the next day till they said, well, he went and tagged and he missed second base, so he's out, and then the game's over and the other team won. So that's how it worked. It's a crazy thing.
We can't say whether or not he touched second, but we damn sure know that he touched second with that ball. So,
which is not the right ball, probably.
Right?
So, yeah, it's a mess.
What the fuck?
And it's one of the more famous plays in baseball history. And
So whose boner is it? Is it Merkel's or the fucking officiating?
Is it Merkel or the umpire? We don't fucking know.
Whose boner is this?
Someone claim this boner. I see a boner and I want to know whose it is. In 1931, he appears in a boxing movie called The Iron Man as well. He plays McNeil. Lou Ayres stars in that movie.
Yeah.
Next up, Sweepstakes. He's in a movie called The Star Witness he's in after that.
Oh.
Oh, boy. He plays Mickey the Henchman.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's in a short called Full Coverage. He's in a movie called Bad Company.
Oh, yeah?
till the day he dies.
Was he born with a 6-gun in his hand?
6-gun in my... That's him. He plays Joe the elevator operator. Yeah. Next up, he plays in the Tip-Off.
Oh.
He plays Swanky Jones.
Okay.
If I get tired of Diamond Dick, I'll go with that.
Was it the job of every title writer to make it as close to sexual innuendo as possible?
Yes, because that would be on a big billboard and it would make you look, and then you might go see it just because you thought.
That's wild.
That's what it was. Yeah, they're trying to entice you with something.
Stupid.
And this is when movies, too, there was like gangster movies coming out, and this was all the gangster movies and shit of the early 30s is what caused the Hays Code, which was you couldn't do anything bad in a movie until the late 60s.
Oh.
It was called the Hays Code. Just no cursing, no fucking violence, no sexual shit. You'd see people kissing. It would just be a quick kiss and they'd have to release. It couldn't be a long thing. That's when you'd see like a couple, they'd start kissing and the camera pans away to like a blowing curtain.
Right.
Because they couldn't show them embracing on the back.
Flowers on the table or whatever. Yeah.
Hays Code. They weren't allowed. That's because in the 30s they made fucking raw dog movies. They had porn. They had fucking, porn was, a chick dancing around with her shirt off. But still, they had, gangster movies. A lot of gangster movies. That's what they were really. It was the Puritans trying to fucking not give people gangster movies.
The question, though, is, James, was it selling? You know what I mean? If it's selling, then shut the fuck up.
Yeah, well, that's what they were afraid of. It's selling, so they're ruining the country. Okay. The Tip-Off he's in, Swanky Jones. Aerosmith, he plays undetermined role. I don't know what that would be. And then The Secret Witness, he plays Mike, the speakeasy proprietor. Okay. These are all gangster movies. Yeah. That's what was popular back then because you just had Prohibition and Al Capone and all these gangsters. Now there's a bunch of movies about it. That makes perfect sense. Yeah. Perfect sense.
It's fucking fascinating.
It's fascinating. How many gang movies were there in the 90s? Because the 80s, they got the huge uptick of gang shit.
Al Capone was purportedly the richest man on the planet at some point. Like that's a fascinating story.
That's a lot, yeah. Or at least his the whole syndicate
the industry,
was bigger than major industries. February 16th, 1932, it says that I guess there's there was different umpires, and he says Mike Donlin, the former New York Giants slugger, tells the reporter here that John McGraw is responsible for the double umpire system. Mike says that McGraw used to cut through the pitcher's box from second base with the single umpire system and head for home plate. He'd catch an ump not looking, and he'd fucking cut a base. Donlin states that McGraw won many a ball game with that trick. Wow.
He'd go from first to third.
That's awesome. Yeah, he'd go. Yeah, he'd just cut it that way. And by the way, Donlin, I think to home, he said too. He'd head for home plate. He'd instead of going around third, he'd head from second base and just go over the pitcher's mound and go home. He said, and by the way, says Donlin, don't address McGraw as Muggy. He hates that name. It was pinned on him when he was a welterweight fighter before he got into baseball. This will be manager John McGraw's first spring training trip to Los Angeles since 1907. Okay, great. So he continues to act. He's in The Beast of the City.
Yep.
As a, quote, reporter going to phone his stuff in.
Oh.
It's a reporter going to phone the story in. He's in A Fool's Advice after that as Mr. Wimple. The Famous Ferguson Case, he's a photographer. The Purchase Price, and he's Tom Buchanan in that. Okay. That stars Barbara Stanwyck, by the way. She's famous. Let's see. Hold'em Jail, he plays a coach. Off His Base, he plays Mike Donlin in a short. Plays himself. Wow. So I don't know if that's a story about him or what, 1932. One Way Passage, he plays a Hong Kong bartender. I don't think he'd be very convincing as a Chinese bartender. I'm just going to go off of what I've seen. I don't think so.
I feel like he probably said some racist shit.
Probably, yeah. He came in and his fucking... Oh, my God, the makeup they put on him, and he's just doing a terrible accent.
Doing some Jerry Lee Lewis shit.
Yeah, he just comes in, Jerry Lewis. He just comes in, he's like, ha-ha, and they're like, no, don't. And they're like, he did a great job. 1932, he's also in Madison Square Garden. That's apparently about boxing because he plays referee Mike Donlin. Yeah. And next, he's in a movie called Flesh. Which sounds, he plays Mike, a man in the gym. And The Devil is Driving he's in as well, and he plays speakeasy doorman in Garage.
Yeah. There was a gym in the 30s?
There was a what?
There was a gym in the 30s? What did the gym look like then?
Man in Gym. Oh, Christ. It was like a medicine ball. And that's literally what it was. It was like
and
some
a push-up
ancient...
mat.
And a push-up mat. Here you go. There's a push-up mat for you. 1932, he's also in 20,000 Years in Sing Sing as an inmate. That's a famous movie, actually, 20,000 Years in Sing Sing. Air Hostess in 1933. Planes commercial flying just started like a few years before, and that's a movie about the air hostesses at the time, the stewardesses. That's fucking amazing. He plays Mike. Goldie Gets Along. He plays a cafe manager. That looks like a pretty... That's a movie with the chick on the fronts in like a bikini and like her hands on her hips. That's a racy film for back then. She Done Him Wrong. He's in. That's starring Mae West, actually.
Is that right?
Yep. He plays Tout in that. High Gear. He's in, playing Jake Cohen. Picture Snatcher. He plays a... That's James Cagney, too. That's the Cagney film.
It's the guy with a camera on his shoe.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So we both had the same thought of, oh, no.
Gross.
Picture Snatcher. He's a pool room proprietor. Then Song of the Eagle. He plays a detective. A deputy he plays in Manhunt. Heroes for Sale. He plays an angry laundry worker. Is that back to his Asian roots again, or what's going on there?
It is fascinating how easy it was to get into the movies back then.
If you were famous, you could get into the movies. And if you had a name, that was something. It's another name they could put up there that might draw a few more people in. That's the way they look at it. Same as now. If there's just a few more.
Yeah,
it's really gone back the other way.
It's very strange.
He's in Torchy's Loud Spooker after that.
What?
I don't know what that is, and I don't want to know. It's got a Torchy and Spook in the thing, and so I'm worried. I'm worried. Midnight Mary, he's in next. That sounds like a racy movie. He's a guard at the Imperial Club. Don't Bet on Love. He plays a hoodlum in that one. And Dr. Bull, he plays there. Okay. So, and then later on, he's in a movie called Swellhead as Brick Baldwin, but that doesn't come out till 3 years later.
That
sounds
gross too.
In 1935. That year also, 1933, he was asking a friend of his if he could get back into coaching, wants a job with the Giants. Maybe he can coach, possibly.
Why? You've got a career as an actor.
I don't think he's making a lot of money, though. Like I said, I think these are friends of his giving him bit parts where he makes a buck here, a buck there, but he wants a steady job. And he knows baseball, so why not?
Yeah.
But it doesn't quite come around. They're talking about maybe 1934, maybe spring training, but then September 24th, 1933, he dies.
Really?
So, yeah, he dies.
Of what?
Let's see here. Mike Donlin, famous baseball figure here, died of a heart attack at his home today.
Booze, probably.
56 years old. Everything.
It's gotta be.
He lived like a monster. He was out every night drinking,
he died
carousing.
Of early 1900s. That's what he died of.
Imagine what this man ate before he drank all that. Think about it. He's a full turkey dinner he's going to have just off on a whim. Who eats like that?
And in early Hollywood, it wasn't then what it is today.
No.
It wasn't elegant and fucking...
Big stars made a lot of money. Nobody else did. That was the way it worked.
And there was gross shit there.
Oh, God, it was really gross, yeah. And if you were drinking like a fish back then, especially like in the late 1800s, he drank all through Prohibition, so he's drinking fucking bathtub booze, poison. Who knows what he's got in him. They said Donlin had been in ill health for several years.
Yeah.
Physicians described his ailment as, quote, athletic heart.
What?
He used it too much. Literally, his heart got worn out from exercising too much. They called it athletic heart rather than drank every night heart.
He used up all his beats. That's all.
He used up his pumps. That's what happens. He's out of pumps. Athletic heart, they used to call it. That's why people would try not to exercise too much back then, because they thought your heart would run out of beats.
You get athletic heart.
Athletic heart, which is probably just athletes always die early because they drank like fucking monsters all the time. Yeah. So they go, what's that athletic heart again? Wow. He's still married, by the way, to Rita Ross at the time. Yep, he's still married. His New York Sun obituary said, quote, he had color and swagger. He was rough, tough, and profane, but likable. He wore his cap, here's the same line, wore his cap at a belligerent angle over one ear, had a plug of tobacco in his jaw. He was the most picturesque player of the time and the baseball idol of Manhattan. He was scrappy, fiery, the Babe Ruth of his time.
Wow.
Big stuff.
Yeah.
He's been cremated here, but his plot is at West Long Branch, Monmouth, New Jersey. Glenwood Cemetery. He is cremated. His grave picture's right here, too. It's a little tiny fucking thing. Michael Joseph Donlin, little on the ground rectangle.
Spent a lot of time in Jersey, huh?
Turkey Mike, babes. Yeah, that's it. They were living in New York at him and his wife. So
maybe they lived in Jersey and played for New York too. That's possible.
Yeah, that's possible too. They might have lived outside, and a lot of people did that in the burbs there. So this is a guy who, as huge of a star as he was, both in films and on the baseball field, he's a huge star.
Never heard of him.
Most people don't know this fucking guy.
Never heard of him.
Which is so crazy. His story's wild. He's drinking, carousing. Yeah, we didn't kill anybody. We didn't get to that. And people go, there's a lot of sports in this one or whatever. It's fucking funny. It's a comedy show, and we just did a show about an old-timey guy who's hilarious. So
he knew Drew Barrymore's family, for Christ's sake.
Don't worry. Someone will rape somebody next week. We'll get it. I promise you. I swear to God, we'll have a horrible person next week with a wet dick that doesn't deserve it. Trust me. So the San Jose Giants, who are the single-A affiliate of the San Francisco Giants, have a barbecue and picnic area and call it Turkey Mike's Barbecue, named after him.
Oh, that's fantastic.
He was a Giant. Because he won World Series with the Giants back then and shit. So he's one of the first big Giants stars. And that, everybody, is Turkey Mike Donlin.
Wow.
And a fun old-timey story that we don't get to do very often.
They should make a movie after that guy. That's fantastic.
This guy's life is fucking wild.
That's a great story.
Yeah, he's married to 2 starlets. Yeah. He's in movies. He knows
he's in a movie
everybody.
Called Railroaded, and his parents died that way.
That's fucking right there's enough for a movie.
That's plenty.
This is the type of guy, like with him, he's got so much going on. Like he's like a 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon type of guy.
Right.
He would be the Kevin Bacon of his time. Like, I guarantee you, between baseball, movies, and all that shit, like, he's the through line to everybody.
Right.
Like, there's just, you could get to him by degree 3 or 4 every time back in the day. So,
I mean, he was probably in a big deal in New York anyway. Did business with people somewhere there. Then he translates from New York to L.A. That's fucking unbelievable.
That's Hollywood is where he ended up dying in Hollywood. That's where he died in California. So there you go. That's Turkey Mike. And if you like that show, tell the world about it. Get on whatever app you're listening on, whether it's Apple Podcasts, Audible, whatever you got, and give us 5 stars. Say something nice. Talk about how you want to be Diamond Dick and the Whackstick. Yeah. And it's all good. Do that. Definitely head over to shutupandgivememurder.com. Tickets to live shows for Small Town Murder, September 8th, Atlanta, September 9th, Charlotte. Still some tickets left there. Pretty much everything else is sold out all the way up till December 2nd in Dallas, where there are tickets left for that one. So get your tickets to all of those, and you definitely want to get your tickets for October the 26th. Virtual live show for Small Town Murder. It's going to be available for a week after that. It's Halloween week. We'll do a Halloween themed show. We're going to dress up and do a gross story. It's going to be a lot of fun. Those tickets go on sale September 1st. So anytime after that, you can grab them, and you get those at shutupandgivememurder.com/virtual live. So do that. Also, Your Stupid Opinions, our new podcast that we're fucking jacked for, is coming out September the 18th. Hear about people's stupid reviews and hear us make fun of them, because that's what it is. And it's everything under the sun you can make fun of, from products to places to people to things. It's going to be awesome. So can't wait for you guys to hear that every Monday morning starting on September the 18th. You want to follow us on social media. We are at Crime and Sports on Twitter and Facebook. We are at Small Town Murder on Instagram and Threads. So check that out there. You definitely want Patreon. Speaking of Patreon, my goodness, patreon.com/crimeinsports. That's where you get all the bonus stuff. Anybody $5 a month or above, literally change from your couch, 1 cup of coffee, $5 a month gets you not only a whole big back catalog of a couple hundred bonus episodes that are available nowhere else but Patreon, and never have been for that matter, but in addition to that, every other week you are going to get new episodes. 1 Crime and Sports, 1 Small Town Murder. This week is no different. For Crime and Sports this week, we're going to talk about the history of celebrity boxing.
It's fantastic.
What the hell? Whose idea was that?
Why?
Who said, let's get a one-hit wonder and a washed-up sitcom star and have them beat the shit out of each other on TV with oversized gloves on? Whose idea was that? Why does this happen?
Did it, right?
We'll talk all about it.
So.
So many people have done it. We'll talk about the most ridiculous ones and just some history of celebrity boxing. Then for Small Town Murder, this is going to be so much fun.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about why was it so dangerous to be in your house in Victorian times.
Yeah.
Late 1800s, early 1900s. It was so dangerous. Everything had poison and strychnine in it. The strychnine looked just like the baking soda. It was fucking nuts. And then at the same time, bathrooms exploded like crazy. Why did you have exploding bathrooms? We'll talk all about it. There's no relaxing in the bathroom. You be on your toes in there at all times. So we'll talk about all of that. Patreon.com/crimeinsports. But right now, it is time to hear the names of the most wonderful goddamn people on the earth, Jimmy. I love these people. They have done nothing but right by us. Hit me with the names of the people that we wish we could do more than just say their name. Hit me with them now.
This week's executive producers are Lily Cussins, Brianna Vandemark, Kyle Norweg. Thanks, Kyle. Jewel Sherrington. Congratulations on being engaged, Jewel. Lisa knew.
Look at you.
Lisa knew she'd marry that fucker. That's what she said.
Okay,
Lisa said
congrats.
It. She called it. Good for you, Lisa. Mario DiCiccio, Susanna
She said
Platt.
that about 14 other guys first, though. And then Lisa don't know shit. So.
Don't tell him. Brad Sewell, happy birthday, Brad. Good for you.
Happy birthday.
Other producers this week are Ogie Oglethorpe and Clarence Screaming of Buffalo Swamptown.
Some slap shot shit.
That's them. She eats pussy.
She eats pussy. Well, you feel shame, and then you get 3. Sorry, go ahead.
Thomas Smith, Peyton Meadows, Amanda Buchenshine, Rabbi Shmulevich, and his new tricycle, Norman Bunce, Mutt, and Jeff. That's a cartoon, right?
It's an old cartoon, yeah.
I remember that.
Cartoon
Mikey
fair.
in Connecticut. Mikey, good for you, buddy.
Mikey.
Stick with it. Ian Elliott, Dale Crawford, Josh Grande, yep. Jeff
Big old Josh.
Jeff Paget, Elvira S., Chris DeWaters, Candace Ewert, Braden Phillips, Rosemary Golier, I don't know, Danielle Shepard, Holy T. Hello, T-Rex. All right. Braden with no last name. Michael Andronowitz. All right. Sharon Sherrod Allen, Glenn Walters, Dr. Joshua C. Poole, Joanne Kent, Alice C., Chris Watney, yep. Ashley Palmer, Brandy with no last name, Laura Layson, Layton, no, it's Layson, Zach Tate, Kevin Rosenberger, Moisty McMoistface, Charlene Palmer, Dr. Vader, Laura Black, Jackson Maddox, Jacob Barnes, Heather Montague, yep. What was the other one? Montagues and what? Plagues? What were they? I don't know. All right. It's from fucking Shakespeare, isn't it? Montague?
Monty and Capulets.
Preston Redden, Jennifer Randall, Joshua Fields, Josh Shackelford, Jess with no last name, Haley Wilson, Jason Gully, Shanna with no last name, Tamika Pendergraft, Dalton Stonky, all right, Christy Milden, Caitlin Larson, Althea Wunderler, Selby, Jay Cargiley, 1974, Astros, 1722, Jennifer Johnson, Emmett Hortath, Alicia Mason, Brandon Lung maybe, Tatum Thompson, Rachel, Bianucci, Leslie, it's like it feels like the song that what's this fuck saying. You know what I'm talking about? Fucking David Cross. Feels like a word. Bianucci. Leslie Dorn. Adam
Christ.
God damn it. Adam Kane, Brenda Brockway, Kate with no last name, Fran Dingle, Heidi Gager, Daisy G, John Fisher, Carson with no last name, Don Garrison, Sia Kenyon, Shanna Wright, Josh Green, Jason Green, God damn it, Claire McMahon, Brian Papa Grub, Jenna Lemke, I was on a roll, Christina Marrero.
You had it, Jimmy.
Lindy Devonte, Quentin McElroy, nope, that's Elmer. It's Quentin Elmore, Kay Reynolds, Rivas, John Manek, Trent Johnston, James Lowe, Amy Kime, Jessica Willows, Tristan Donovan, Catherine Stain, Kelsey Simmons, Megan Thompson, Victoria McKenzie, Logan Rash, Jennifer Tessier, Jeremy McDonald, Garrett, Kemlaus? There's no way. Sorry, Garrett. Lori Hill, Melanie with no last name. David DeCant, Amanda Grace, Kristen.
No, he can. David DeCan. He absolutely can.
You certainly can.
I believe in you, David.
Kristen Rummery, Becca Yemans, Katie Meyer Dager, Carla Dawson, Kristen Castro, Mary Almquist, Dixon Kuntz. Are you proud of yourself, you dirty fuck? Daniel Carlson, Shake probably. DeGaussy, that's probably a fucking typo. I apologize. Jessica Wright, Matthew Lindley. Nobody's named Shake, right? Maybe there is. Brandon Lagasse. Big Ben never touched those women. You're out of your fucking mind. Where there's smoke, there's fire. Mike with no last name. Nisha G. Daniel 23. Perry Johnson. Amelia Kelly. Rachel Mark. Felicia, Dave's sister from another mother.
Oh.
All right. Liam Curtis Moore. Madison. Consolado. It's got to be Consolado.
Italian names, the death of Jimmie.
Ridiculous. Lisbeth. Nice. Maybe a little bit. Kristen Canera. Jay Mans. Cassidy Rondell. Mowell. Mooley? Oh, can't say that.
No,
Mitchell.
It's definitely not
Mr.
that,
Mitchell. Mrs. Mitchell? I don't know. I want to die.
Jimmie.
Mouli. What is that?
I get it. I get why you said it. I know. You showed it to, but I'm like, oh, no.
Sue Saddlemeyer. All right. Jack with no last name. Colleen with no last name. Hope A. Stacy Turner. Delphor. Mowley. Delphor with no last name. Taylor Howard. Marcus Gines. Nicole Slokin, I think so. Carrie Anderson, Tessa Rodriguez, Drake, the only one. There's several of you. Sarah Terry, Allie Ann, Dennis Quinn, Gretchen Stahl, Xavier Reed, Christina Lamb, Shelley Radecki, Robert Nelson, Elias Nipples. What? All right. Kyle O'Rourke, Nathan Thompson, Cassandra Lee, SCRBMK11. No way except for spelling it. Yeah. Lindsay Carr, Crystal Munoz, Topher Fisher, Thomas Crisp, Kayleen G, Ed Carrick, Brenda Davey, Dan Jeter, Michelle with no last name, Catherine with no last name, Tommy, nope, that's Tanya, Gulling maybe, Alexis Stinson, Amy Kimbrough, Sean O'Leary, Cynthia Kramer, Stephen Watts, Emma with no last name, Jennifer Buell, Waylon with no last name, Maslin Mueller, Matthew McDonnell, Cassandra with no last name, Joshua Wayne Warren, Sarah Taylor, Maddie Lee, Joe Smith, Rebecca Nicole, Charla Lindsay, Emily with no last name, William Smalley, Tara Claghorn, Jeff Niffer, Alexandra Chico maybe, Space Mouse, Mara Fields, Luke Bazovsky, Mike Powell, Tessa, Reza, no fucking way, Reza Muyal. Oh, I'm not saying that.
You almost said it again, Joe.
Not doing it.
Good God.
The bait is there. The trap is set. Carissa Rowell, I think. Maureen Marshall, Tyler Hartwig. How are there 2 and 1? Raquel with no last name. Scott Houts. Brady with no last name. Bonnie Gadiant. Barb Wiley. Tim Varela. Heather Rabachow, Steer 86. Regina Gar. Ellen McCormick. Terry Hunter, Aaron Berthold, Sarah George, Patrick Pickett, Victoria with no last name, Makash with no last name, Tracy Bartkowski, Jamie with no last name, Kristen Emerson, Aaron Johnson, Kevin DeMater, Amy D with no last name, just the letter D, Lynn Stadler, Samantha with no last name, Jessica Richards, Matthew Anderson, Jackie Butler, and every fucking patron of this show. You're incredible. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody, you wonderful, wonderful
Unreal.
bastards. We
Truly
appreciate
unreal.
the hell out of you. Thanks for all that you do for us. Hope you're loving the bonus material. We love making them. That's like a whole other show for us over there. So we have a fucking great time. Thanks for everything you do for us. If you want to say thank you, or you don't have to say thank you, because just you can listen, and that's thank you enough. But if you want to get a hold of us at any time on social media, you can find us very easily at shutupandgivememurder.com. There's links to everything there. Keep coming back. Keep seeing us. Listen to Small Town Murder. Listen to your stupid opinions. Get Patreon. Do some shit and hang with us live from the Crime and Sports Studios. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
If you like Crime and Sports, you can listen early and ad-free now by joining Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts. Prime members can listen early and ad-free on Amazon Music. Before you go, tell us about yourself by filling out a short survey at Wondery.com/survey.